Hey guys, how we doing? All good? Pretty week off to a good start. Get that turned down. Practically flawless. Hey Steve, how you doing, man? How you doing? Glad, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Get that all ready. Woo, yeah, it's warming up here as well. Summer months kicking in. June. Already, it's crazy. It's at the dentist today, and they're like, "Oh, 6 months time, December." Like, what? Okay, you say so. Yeah. Wild times, man. Wild times. Let's get that all ready. It's looking. Everything's looking set. Music off. Yeah, nice. Yeah. How you guys been? Steve, thanks for sharing that link the other day about the new Nanlux lights. I hadn't actually seen that anywhere else. I even tried googling it, and to be fair, it was that only that guy's link that I could kind of find on it. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, good spot. Is he pretty good? Because he's come up a couple of times, I think, of like articles and stuff that people have shared, and his blog, or is it like part of a group or something like that? Where is it? I'll have a look at it properly in a minute. But let's see. Where's the things we're going to be chatting about today? Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, so news shooter. Oh, we presume it's not just him then. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of the comments in there, man, it's good stuff. Yeah, Aperture feeling the heat. It's good. I mean, competition's good, man. Competition's good. Yeah. There's Facebook group for Namlight when I saw it. Oh, okay, man. Okay. I'll have to have a look at that then. Yeah, Facebook group for Nanlight. All right. Yeah. Is it the Nanlight global one that's got like 96,000 people in it or something like that? Because I do tag it when I'm using their lights, but I haven't actually been in there. Yeah. Some of the comments here actually talking about the Blair chip from Aperture, which is obviously the BLAIR chip. Yeah. Have you guys seen any more on that? Yeah. Jamie, it's always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure to see your beaming face in chat. Brings me such joy. How you doing, Jamie? You good? Tina, is that right? Photograph Tina. Tina, how you doing, mate? Yeah, welcome. Yeah, that Blair chip, like, because it was kind of erupted. Was it blue, lime, amber, indigo, and red? Is that right? Blue. Yeah, let's have a look. It's Aperture, right? Aperture Blair. Blair chipset. Yeah, it is Blair. Yeah, it is Aperture. Okay. Understanding Aperture's Storm LED line in there. I'll switch it over. Yeah, understanding Aperture's Storm LED line, the Blair color engine. Oh, it's just going to be a video. Yeah. But there was a lot of talk. I know Vlad has mentioned it to me before about getting one of those. What are those color meters called, Vlad? Like, is it Spectro, or I forget what it's called now, but one of those color meters that basically reads the waveforms of light and that sort of thing. And I haven't looked into the Blair chip, but from my basic kind of understanding of what people were saying was it was able to kind of give a more organic, rich looking skin tone light. It's, kind of everybody's scrambling to kind of replicate that incandescent look and the way that incandescent light looks on the skin with that kind of waveform that it bounces back. And the Blair Chip was supposedly, you know, a step towards that. Yeah. So here you go. Yeah. So to address this, yeah, the Blair light engine includes indigo emitters in the LED chipset, which is specifically designed to replicate those hard-to-see wavelengths that make natural light appear so rich. Boom. So it's pretty much what I was just saying there about, you know, like natural light or incandescent light. You know, so the sun is is burning a lot of fuel, which is essentially the incandescent light as well, same as the, you know, tungsten bulbs burning metal or whatever it is. So yeah, so it's kind of doing the same thing, and there's people that get into the weeds with it, but essentially what it's doing is incandescent light is kind of penetrating the skin, and it bounces back certain types of light that doesn't look as kind of fake and synthetic as some of the other lights that we would have. Now, you could say, oh, that's just nerd talk. Nobody's really gonna notice it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And incandescent lights is so beautiful to work with, just like tungsten bulbs on the skin. Shared a shoot the other day with it, where I was using like lamps, incandescent lamps, and like the color on the skin is beautiful. Yeah, but I have not used the Blair Chip, so I can't comment. But I am certainly very interested. Yeah. Nanlux have RGB ALC in a couple of lights. So red, green, blue, and then amber, lime, and then is that cyan? Is that right? Spectrometer. Thank you, Vlad. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All in my brain, all I could think of was color meter or kilometer or something like that. But yeah, spectrometer. Thank you. Yeah. You want one so bad? Yeah. You said what? You said like kind of like the price of one is like 300 quid or something. So I never owned one, but when I was assisting in London, we would like, I mean, I'm going back 20 odd years, right? So when I was assisting in London back then, obviously shooting on film and that sort of stuff, a lot of the time, medium format film and that stuff, we would always have one on set. We would always be using it on the subjects. Now, I'll be totally honest, at the time, I was just monkey see, monkey do. I was just looking at it and going, and I was just telling the telling the photographer the readout. Like, I didn't really fully understand it, but I'm sure it meant something to them at the time. But yeah, it was like everybody had one back then, to kind of read that color and spectrum on the skin. But you never see them now. Like, I haven't seen one in like decades. Yeah, literally. So yeah. But they are pricey, like 300 quid for something that you, or like Vlad says, $2,000 there for a good one. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, they're so expensive. I'm thinking GoFundMe might be in order. I mean, so what would you do, Vlad? You would kind of test the different lights that you have and kind of see what comes closest to kind of like the incandescent wavelength, and see if you could kind of replicate that in some way with some custom LEDs. I could kind of see that, because in theory that's you go, okay, so I've got a trough here, I need to add X amount of lime or whatever here to kind of bring that trough up so it kind of replicates an incandescent waveform. I could see that. Yeah. Christ, anybody new joining the stream is just like, what are these fucking nerds talking about? Guys, if you're new, welcome. I promise you it's not normally this bad. Welcome. We're just going to be going over a couple of bits of news, new releases and that sort of stuff, and then we're going to be looking at a new light from Nanlux. They sent me the Pavo Slim, which is an LED panel. We're going to be looking at that, the 120C. You'll get hands on with that in a second, and kind of have a quick look. The review is in the works for it already. I've already used it in a couple of shoots, but it'd be kind of good to show you why it's, why am I even interested in it, right? What is it doing? What is it offering that's kind of unique? Yeah. So actually, this article might actually look like it's pretty good. It's got black body versus daylight and that sort of stuff here. So okay, yeah, I might have to. If anybody's interested, I might have to actually watch a couple of the vids on that, to be fair. Yeah. Okay, right. So nobody here owns the Blair Chip, right? An Aperture Blair Chip, yeah. Because I presume they're pretty expensive. No? Oof, that can't be right, can it? So they only have it on like the top end ones. That can't be right. I guess it might be like their top end one, right? Yeah. Yeah. I need to look at it. But some of these are pretty pricey. Yeah. Okay. So what we also do as well is actually go through some community images. So you guys can post your images in the share a shoot, which I'll give you a link to now, and then we can go through that later on. For whatever reason, it's this image just like Facebook was like, I'm not going to share it to anybody. So there's actually hardly any images in this week's share a shoot. So it's going to be a very quick one tonight, which is fine. But yeah, it's just really dependent on whether the image from the share a shoot gets actually put out there so that people can actually see it and post in the comments. But if you would like to share your work, do so in the comments here. Normally we have a bunch. Like I said, it's just down to chance really as to whether Meta deems it worthy to share the image. But if you'd like to pop an image in here, we can go through it later on, maybe give some feedback and that sort of thing if it's needed. Talk about lighting, that sort of stuff, right? So if you'd like to, there's a link there. Just pop it in the comments and we will take a look. I'm sure there's some people in chat who haven't shared anything at the moment. Jamie, you're not in here. Sterling's popping in there, nice. Oh, that's looking good, Sterling. Okay, that's looking good, man. Like the colour on that. Yeah. I was about to click on that, but let's save it. Let's save it. Oh, Stadium in... Oof, Jenna, yeah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people are embracing it. Can't argue with the results, but yeah, we'll dig into that in a minute. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. Let's have a look. Just started a new YouTube series. In this video, I'm going to go step by step and try and make my own light that's addressing my frustrations. Interesting, Vlad. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, certainly viable. We have access to buy all those individual pieces now, and you've kind of already broken the back of it by learning some of the code associated with it as well. So I mean, certainly viable. Yeah, could be cool. Yeah, I'm thinking to get something edited whilst on stream. Nice, Jamie. Nice. Yeah, I got nothing new. I'm gonna post my thumbnail from the vid. It's weird, man. Yeah, it's weird. It's been quiet. It has been quiet. I won't lie. Yeah. Certainly, you guys are not alone in not having a ton to share. And this is, I mean, one of the reasons why I think this didn't get shared was because I shared the same image back to back. So on Friday, I posted this image from the shoot, and then this image from the shoot, and I think that like the algorithm is like, oof, break it up. Yeah. So I do have a bunch to share, but I was just kind of wanted to keep it specific to the Nanlite panel, which we can chat about in a minute. But so yeah, pop it in there if you'd like to. Let's have a look then at some of the articles and that sort of thing that we got saved here. That's not it. Livestream, Profoto announces. Yeah, so let's have a look. There's nothing crazy. I've been pretty busy the last week or so I haven't really been monitoring the news like that, but nothing crazy. So Profoto announces TTL global shutter flash capability, compatibility. Sorry. So what is this? Is this Sony really, right? I mean, I don't use this global shutter thing. I know some of you in here do. I know some of you are absolutely just like, this is it. Like, this is game changing for me. Global shutter and that sort of thing. And that's great. So Profoto announcing TTL with global shutter is definitely a good thing. So the combination of Sony's global shutter and Profoto's advanced flash technology unlocks new creative possibilities. For the first time, photographers can sync flash up to 1/80,000th of a second without compromising, engaging full control. So, I mean, good stuff, right? It was especially with the global shutter. Yeah, Does anybody use a Sony with the global shutter? And not only do you have the camera that has the capability of it, but do you regularly use the global shutter option, or is it like, it's cool to have, if I need it, but it's not something that I use very often and that sort of thing. Because I'll be honest, when it came out, and like I haven't tested it or used it myself, so like a total ignorant standpoint, but I was like, I don't really get the fuss personally, but everybody seemed to be raving about it, so I'm obviously missing something. So I will endeavor to try and get my hands on one and take a look when I can. Yeah. System works right out of the box. Just set the flash, freeze mode, automatic TTL, boom, boom. Who uses TTL actually? Does anybody use TTL? I mean, I suppose if you're doing events, a lot of people in here doing events. So like TTL is good as well. Like it is very surprising actually when I tested it with a ring flash, which was kind of cool, which was a ring flash off the camera, and it was still working flawlessly. I was like, damn, that is. I do prefer the manual control, but like if you were pushed for time and like you needed to get, shots, like even at a wedding, TTL would be amazing. So yeah, I mean, if that's the sort of work you do, fast paced, you need the shots. TTL is very, very good. Yeah, some black magic going on with that. It's clever stuff. Yeah. Let's put this over here. I do have a good explanation for my lack of new photos. I have up in the forest, and at the moment it's easier to stay at my desk and talk to a camera than it is to stay upright. Oh shit, man, okay, what are you doing? Was that on the bike riding thing you were doing recently? I saw you had some shots where you're on a bike. Or you're just getting old like the rest of us, mate. I mean, it happens. Yeah. I did like an hour of gardening at the weekend, and I just like crippled. It's terrible. Yeah. Sounds revolutionary if you shoot action sport stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like stuff like that when it works. That's the old adage, right? Technology is great when it works, and my experience with TTL has been like, damn, that is impressive. Yeah, it is impressive, especially when you can kind of darken it down a little bit or brighten it up, as you see fit. But and I was aiming to break it. I think this was on the Godox. I was trying to break it, for the purpose of testing. And like I said, I had it on a ring flash as well. So I was moving I even had it and I even had it on an extension as well. So it was a cable that you could plug into the front of the strobe, and then you would have a flash tube on a cable. Really cool. And I was like hand holding it, and TTL was just instant. So like the flash is moving constantly, hand holding. So it's not even TTL on the camera. Very, very clever. Yeah. So yeah, those of you shooting Profoto at events, I can't imagine there's many of you. That's an expensive events flash, but yeah, it's there if you need it. Not getting older, just stupid, and fell off my feet while trying to take a photo because I was propping my feet on the root while they rooted. Sounds like age, mate. I'm just saying you wouldn't have made that mistake when you were 21. I'm just saying. But that sucks, man. I hope it gets sorted soon, because that is no fun. Yeah, that is no fun. Vlad, mate, I had to pull it out for you. I know this was like, I saw this and I'm like, Vlad will love this. So Steve, I think you mentioned this last live stream. You were like, they were teasing something on the Godox page. I was like, okay, and they just showed like a little snippet of the screen and that sort of stuff. And then this is what they announced, which is just an onboard iFlash camera flash. And they've been bringing out a bunch of these recently, and like Vlad mentioned last stream, it's like, who is this for, right? I haven't seen the results from it, but I guess if it can do kind of everything that your normal big, black flash that sits on the top, if it can do everything but in this smaller size, then okay. Yeah, then okay. But is this kind of like got an onboard battery? Right, touchscreen is cool. Like touchscreen is cool. Like full color touchscreen. Like is good. Because you know what it's like on the old flashes, you'd go in and it'd be like, yeah, I want 1/64th power over this, and it's just like, what on earth? So this with pretty pictures, you know, I could see that being good. Wireless master receiver, okay, so it acts as a receiver as well. It's cool. So the battery, right, that is what I would be thinking of. Inbuilt diffuser. Oh, okay, it's got a switch here with diffuser on. Yeah, I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. So so look, so we can obviously see that there is more light in the room because we can see this shadow here, right? See this shadow going across there. So she's obviously being lit by something else. At most, this is kind of filling in. So that's kind of a cheeky example image there. Like we can clearly see that shadow is coming from somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, my concern with this would be battery, right? Oh, here we go. Shoot all day without power worries. With a 1.5 second recycle time. Okay, so it's not fast, but manageable, and up to 560 full power flashes per charge. Okay. That is a lot. Okay. Yeah. So I presume, so it is charged. So this is the other downside of these, right? Of these units that are inbuilt, you know, just purely all encased, right? Is that you can't replace the batteries. So I'm always kind of wary of that. But I mean, if this is true, 560 full power flashes, that is kind of wild. But if you're out there and oh shit, I didn't charge it, or, you know, I need to whack in some more batteries, I'm sorry, you can't, right? So there is that. As long as you're organized and you've got and you know that it's charged and ready to go before you go out, and you can't just throw a handful of batteries in your bag, yeah, then like that's good. Yeah. I mean, it looks like onboard flash, right? But I would need to see what some of these settings are power-wise. Yeah, charging anywhere. Lithium battery supports USB fast charging. Easy top up between shoots. Ready for the next time. Okay. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, like they keep bringing these out, so people must be buying them. But that is a lot of flashes in a very small space. I mean, that's not, you know, you could just have that in your pocket like that. That's not the craziest thing to just have in your pocket just in case, right? I could see it. You know, I wouldn't main it or anything, but yeah. What's the price of this? Do we know? Oh, Godox and their naming. I swear to Christ, like, please. It's just like. It's just bots. I mean that's hardly a risk, is it? 70 quid for that? That's crazy. Yeah. It's kind of wild. Or is that yeah, okay. 70 quid. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, cheap. Yeah. Hey Sterling, how you doing, mate? Thanks for popping that image in the share a shoot. I just saw the thumbnail. Looking good, man. Yeah. Age might be the reason why I like grind so much to work in the new base. I think it's called nostalgia. Yeah, it is interesting, right? When we're seeing these kind of loops. I saw your post on Facebook earlier, Vlad, where you were talking about kind of your apathy towards everybody just lifting the shadows up so you can see everything, and it's solid post, and I got to agree. I think that we are kind of getting apathetic towards this 14 stops of dynamic range, or the Netflix look as I call it. But yeah, it sucks getting old. Yeah. This is going to create a shadow with any serious lens. Oh, that's a good point, Vlad. So what Vlad's saying there, right, is really good point. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So what he's saying here is that because it's so low to the camera, right? Imagine if you had, I mean, even a 24-70, if you were in close, 24-70 lens, it's a decent, it's sticking out a decent way, and you were in close. That's a good point, Brad. Especially if okay, maybe it's not a headshot, right? You know, but you zoomed out, the lens is going to at least start casting shadows down here, right? Maybe not on the face, but down here. It's a good point. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, good shout. Yeah. It's pretty impressive. You're talking about this, Sterling, yeah, because you shoot events and stuff, right? And you're out there doing those sorts of things. I mean, for 70 quid, it's hardly a crazy risk. But yeah, like just to have in your pocket, especially if it was charged and you can charge it off. I don't know if you could charge it off your laptop or something like that. If it doesn't take that much. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't main it, but kind of not the craziest. Also, thinking of this for an eye light. If you don't know what an eye light is, it's just to create a little catchlight in the eye. And I have seen some photographers doing this, which is kind of interesting. So they're kind of using a lot of ambient light as well, and then which is maybe up high and that sort of thing. And then I have seen photographers using an onboard flash like this just to create a little catchlight in the eye. I did it recently. It is something that you noticed when it's not there. So like catchlight with and without, you definitely notice it when it's not there. Oh Christ, I've got to scroll through this monster article here. Here we go. Yeah, so this one here did it a few weeks back. So, you know, we're talking about the catchlights in the eyes, these eye lights. So talking about, you know, if you don't have catchlights in the eyes, it's just like the eyes look dead, you know, as opposed to having catchlights in the eyes. And what you can do in cinema, they do it all the time, right? So like there's no white light on this guy here, De Niro here. So there's no white light on him. It's all red light, but they're just using these as eye lights. Same here, right? Just these eye lights. There's no light coming up there, but they need to have some sparkle in the eye. Yeah. And I mean, there's another really good example of it as well. So all I'm using here is this little LED light that sits on top of the hot shoe. So I could see that being a thing as well, viable as well. Yeah. I'm wondering if this is the Japan thing, or you don't get as countrified over here. Yeah, maybe, man. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. The kind of, because I'm seeing a resurgence of that, like we kind of spoke about nostalgia, but that Polaroid look, which is onboard flash, just like pop. That is definitely a popular look over there. Even when I was in Hong Kong, I definitely saw tons of it, of that kind of instant Polaroid look with the onboard flash that we've kind of gone away from. So I mean, yeah, it could be it. Yeah. So I wonder if there is more danger of red eye with the flash being close to the lens. Another really good point, Sterling. Yeah, you guys are on fire tonight. Yeah, that's a really good point. So what Sterling's saying here is that the closer the light source is to the lens, i.e. where the picture's being taken, right? So the closer that the light source is to that, the easier it is for us to get red eyes or light to kind of bounce back into the basically it illuminates the back of the eyeball, right? And that's what we see as the red eye or the glowing eyes. And what Sterling's saying there is that because this isn't, normally you would have your flash gun that would sit up here, right? It would be up a lot higher, and as a result, the flash would be coming up from there, and that even like 6 inches up, 8 inches up would have an impact on that not being straight into the eye. So this is a really good point, man. Yeah, this is so low profile. It's like what, 1 inch, 2 inches above the actual lens. Interesting. Yeah. Good spot, Sterling. Yeah, good spot. Yeah. What about when you have big lenses block the light? Yeah, exactly what Vlad was saying. Yeah, even if you were slightly zoomed out on a 24-70, I think it would still pop up. Yeah. Vlad, it's just I was getting a little bit chopsy in here tonight. It's just, it's almost worth a substitute trigger. So I've seen this, Steve. Yeah. Sterling, sorry. I have seen that when, like I said, I've seen photographers using it as an eye light, but part of me was also wondering as if they were using it as an external trigger as well. The reason why is because I know one of the photographers I've seen using it, I can see the catchlight in the eye, but I think that it is triggering their other flashes as well. So it's kind of doubling up as an eye light, and also triggering the other flashes, which would be like the kind of the slave, right? Yeah. Most laptops, yeah, I know that, Vlad. Yeah, I all the PS5. Just these are all good tips. Yeah, I know, Vlad. Yeah, it only took 12 hours. Yeah. But yeah, the charging would be a concern for me. Yeah, the speed lights have always been good backup trigger when needed. Good shout, man. Yeah, like it. Good idea. Especially if it's charged, you got it in your pocket. You just got to remember to charge it. But yeah, I think it's a good shout. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Is there some indication of how powerful this is? Like, is it got like camera settings? Do you know what I mean? Like, could you? Oh, it supports high-speed sync as well. Okay. I'm just kind of curious as to. Well, there's a bunch there. Flash duration. So typically, at its most powerful is when the flash duration is going to be the longest, right? So 1,000th of a second. So that's usually when it's full power. Not always, but for the most part. And then when it's set to its lowest power, that's when it's going to be 30,000th of a second. I know when we were shooting still life and that sort of thing, we were trying to get the shutter speed or the power to be, or the shutter speed to be as quick as possible to try and capture droplets and that sort of stuff. So we would have to put all the flashes very, very low power, but still fast nonetheless. Yeah. Has global shutter on this one. Yeah. So no. Okay. I don't know how powerful that is, but you're going to be on board anyway, so probably not. It doesn't need to be a huge amount of power when you're that close, right? Also one similar size that was rated at 15. Okay, yeah. Hey Grabs, how you doing, mate? Yeah. See there, it says GN15. I don't know what that. You mean at the bottom there, man? I don't even know what that means. Yeah. Transmission range 100 meters as well. Anyway, okay. So that's that. What else we got from Profoto? Oh, so Profoto as well with their cinema line, and this monster, the L1600D. We kind of spoke about this in the past, and as some of you may or may not know, the director of Rotolight has gone over to Profoto to kind of work on this unit for Profoto, and he's been working behind the scenes developing this new range of lights for Profoto, and these are obviously some serious units. And I think previously we discussed that this was just a single unit, so there's no control box or anything like that. It's just a single unit, and it's all up there on the stand. And what was this, like 13 kilos or something like that before you put a modifier on it. So it's a bit of a beast, but it is 1600 watts power wise. So it's got a lot of juice. It's all coming out of that single cob there. There he is as the rod from Rotolight. So we're starting to see more and more of them pushing this out now. Now, there is a rumor that we're gonna see more lights come out of this line. So I'm kind of interested. So those of you who are kind of plugged into the news, if you see a notification from Profoto or an announcement that they've put out, an announcement of the new lights that are coming out from this line, this kind of cinema line, let me know, because I'd be certainly very, very interested to see what they're cooking up. But yeah, there's certainly more to come from them in this. Now, another thing that's happened here is that they have got embedded with Nanlux, which is a major deal, right? Them kind of linking up with Nanlux is huge, and I think that Nanlux has taken 20 of these units. which is like these units are £8,000 each, I think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they're like £8,000 GBP each, and Panelux just taken 20 of them to kind of have as part of their rental market, right? Now, why is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because Panelux is kind of industry leading, right? It's massive. Panavision, as you know, is it's the name at the end of nearly every movie that we've seen, and Panelux is the kind of lighting brand behind that. So it's a major player, and for Profoto to have kind of got into bed with them in this and signed up an agreement means that this is not just a flash in the pan from Profoto. They really want to be pushing this side, this cinema lighting. And look, I'm not saying that they are taking a step back from the stills, but Profoto hasn't had stands at some of the bigger shows. They've been spending their money on putting up stands at some of the cinema shows and that sort of thing. So it's interesting to see Profoto kind of switch. Not switch is probably the wrong term, but they're putting serious investment into the cinema side of this of their lighting, and signing a major deal with Panelux want to do that. Right, Panelux are already major players. Profoto are the new kids on the block for that deal, but there it is. Yeah, there it is. It's interesting time indeed. Yeah. So I just want to have a look here. What is in that press release? Okay. Look at the size of that thing, man. It's just a monster. Absolute beast. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and this is them. This is their shipment arriving at. Yeah, you see, that's the Panelux logo in the background. The Profoto boxes. Yeah. Okay. Now I double checked this. These are the two kind of CEOs of Panelux here and Profoto. So this isn't just some knockoff kind of deal that is like, yeah, this is a major deal collaboration wise, and literally to the point where I Googled this because they said, oh yeah, the CEOs. I'm like, no, bullshit. Yeah, and I checked it out. It's crazy, man. Yeah, so it's a Profoto is certainly in this for the long haul for sure. Yeah, so something to keep an eye on. Yeah. GM50, I think normal speed lights. GM50. Okay. Yeah. Funny enough, Godox announced yet another flash today. It seems like they release one every month recently. Gripes, you are not wrong. I would say I'm not even exaggerating here. It could even be as much as one every week in terms of product. Do you have a link for that, Gripes, or where I could look for that? If you can, I know you can't post on YouTube, it's a pain in the ass. Just pop it in here. Just pop it in there, and I'll take a look. Be interested to see what they announced. Gina's guide number. Oh, of course it is. Yeah, you can Google that flash. You compare. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it's because you're absolutely right. Yeah, I forgot about that because the guide number thing is weird. I remember being taught that at art college and then just never ever saw it again. Like I've never worked at a studio where that has ever come up. It's definitely one of those things where you get taught it as it's like Pythagoras or something like that. It's just like, yeah, great. I'm glad I know that. Yeah. Yeah. It's the Godox V480. Thanks, Gripes. Okay, I'll have a look. Yeah. I'll put a bit. Oh, nice one, Steve. Well done. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Let's have a look. Yeah. Another speed light. You kidding me? So the Godox V480C promises pro power in a portable package. Okay. In an industry increasingly demanding portability without compromise, Godox has introduced The V4, stupid name, a blend of compact design, pro-level performance, intuitive usability, bridging the gap between the smaller one and the larger one. Okay, so just another incremental change. So $170 for this one, according to the Instagram here. Okay, okay. Key features. Here we go. Guide number 50. What did you say it was back over here, Steve? The other one was like, what do you say it was? It was like 50 or something. Can I get rid of that? It was 51, 15, and this is 50. Yes, you're right, Terry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is coming in at 50. Okay. So that little one, Sterling, was tiny then at 15. Interesting. Okay. Touchscreen, tactile buttons. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's not pricey. That is a very decent price for that. I mean, I remember spending 400 quid on Speedlight a million years ago. I know as going back from some years, but I guess it's a good price, man. You know, for that sort of. It's got a touch screen and it's like 170. Yeah, it's crazy. The cost of these things now is wild. Yeah. See, look, he's using it as kind of like an eye light trigger as well, Sterling. Yeah, he's kind of, because I doubt. Oh, he's obviously got it up there as well, but he's using that as the trigger, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. At what point are they cannibalizing their own market? It just seems so many flashes that's just not kind of. It just seems wild to me. Unless there is just they know that they have this ravenous top end whales in their market that will just buy anything. So it's just like, look, if we just put something out, we know that certain guys will just buy it because it's a new Godox product. Like, could be as simple as that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These things are always. I know you guys probably can't see it on stream, but yeah, these tiny grids for this is wild. Yeah. He bought a Speedlight. I know, Vlad. Yeah. Back when we were shooting weddings. Yeah, I was on film as well. Yeah, back in the day. It was. I've got it somewhere because I never get rid of anything. It's an old Nikon Speedlight, and yeah, it's just yeah. A long time ago. Yeah. I recently picked up the Godox IM20 for my Rico camera. Godox IM20. I'm glad you guys love these numbers and letters. Oh, you got this little thing. Okay. So is your Rico camera fixed lens? Has it got like a... Because we were just talking, I think maybe before you got here, about like the like this kind of casting a shadow with the lens and that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, for an onboard flash for like 30 quid, I mean, you know, why not? Yeah. Got a couple. That kit is actually great. Check the barn doors, etc. Look, I had that kit a million years ago as well. It was like the snoo, and it had the barn doors and lots of stuff. Like, I could see, I don't know, like the barn doors, it just lets light out everywhere. A grid on something that's already that small. I am being I'm being harsh, but yeah, it is. I think maybe like the globes and stuff I think are good, like to try and soften it up and spread the light around. They're pretty good, but otherwise I've been, some of those kits are definitely just a cash grab. Yeah, but I mean, if it works for you, then that's good. Yeah, I totally agree with you being too many, but at least they're innovating. Still, you're right. There is, I think their philosophy is definitely, let's just throw as much at the wall as possible and see what kind of resonates, right? And look, if you can't look around the camera, look around the corner, then at least you can be prepared when that corner arrives, right? Well, look, this is the next hot thing. We've already got that on the market, so we're good to go. But I'm sure there's a bunch of these products that sell a handful, and then that's it. But you're right, they are at least putting out new stuff, whereas so many other companies are just kind of kind of languishing, right? Especially flash companies. Yeah. Yeah, it's fixed, but it doesn't have flash. So it's tiny enough. It's nice. Okay, gotcha. The I'm30 X100 line. This one built in. That's right. I used that on the tiny little kind of thumbnail-sized flash on the X100 Fuji that I have, handheld one. It serves a purpose, right, as a fill light. Given to you for review, nice. Okay, mostly use the diffuser and gel holder. Yeah, gel holder I can see as being good, yeah, but hey, maybe the barn doors may come in clutch at some point. Yeah, just gotta be careful of the light spilling out between them, but I think directing the light, maybe into a white wall to the side of somebody to maybe bounce back, I could see that as being useful, right? If you're not doing anything, too fine with it, but you're just trying to direct the light into like a white door, or even keep it in the ceiling and bounce down. Barn doors are certainly useful for that. Yeah. He says you really don't have to worry about overloading retailers with too many products since it was online now. Yeah, interesting point, Sterling. Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, in the past you wouldn't get retailers taking on all this new product and just having it sat there on the shelves. It's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Right. So, completely switching tack here. The Sony FX2, right, bringing out a new cinema line of camera. So we can kind of see these companies. Godox has their no LED line, which is the cinema line, right? So they're really pushing that, and seeing some of the things that they're bringing out with that recently has been really impressive. Like what they're kind of doing with the LED tech, and and kind of having little lenses on their LEDs, and really kind of sending that light way down range is really impressive, right? So that's their no LED line of lights, and then we have the regular stuff we've just been looking at there, which is the typical Godox stuff that we typically use, and then we have the Lightmons, which is their kind of streamer YouTuber type lighting, and we're seeing a bunch of companies doing this. Amaran, which is the knockoff of Aperture, or breakaway company of Aperture, doing it as well, kind of targeting this newer generation. But then you have Profoto and that sort of thing who are completely skipping that and just going straight to the cinema side of things. And Sony as well has been just making huge strides in the cinema world. And what was it, the other one, like the FX3 or something like that, they shot The Creator on, or something like that, like the movie, if you've seen that. So this is really impressive, and this coming out here, I know these prices seem wild, but this is a lot of camera for that money. Now it's not going to be maybe as relevant to many of us here, just shooting stills and that sort of stuff. But kind of when I saw this, especially knowing what their previous chips could do, and looking at this price, I was like, that is actually very, very impressive. So Sony is really making waves of these for sure. Yeah. FX3, FX2, where are they going in 5 years? Oh, but true, yeah. So what are you saying there? You got hot take. FX3 better than the FX2. Look, that would be I don't think that's a crazy hot take. I would say that what that FX3 is doing. What's the price of an FX3? Which is crazy. Like you guys have seen the film The Creator, right? I think it's on Disney at the moment, and I think Amazon Prime has it on there as well. It's a crazy film. It's it's good. Now don't get me wrong. Like I think they're using like 10 grand lenses on the FX3 or whatever it is. 30 I was looking at there for that. But yeah, this is it's wild that they shot that movie on this, which is crazy. And one of the reasons being, I think, was a lot of it shot in the dark, outside, like no kind of ambient light at all. Like they're on a beach or something like that. And I think what this was doing in those very, very, very low light situations, especially when the file is going to be blown up, you know, like 50 feet on the screen, was wild. Yeah, was absolutely wild. So what they're doing with these chips is crazy, and like it's all good for us, right? Because that tech will eventually come down to the regular stills cameras. So yeah, be interesting times indeed, and not to mention what Nikon is doing with Red, right? And because they're obviously taking that tech and putting it into their Nikon cameras. Has anybody heard anything about that? I know everybody was been very impressed with some of the new Z cameras that have come out from Nikon. I think everybody's, you know, kind of been memeing on Nikon, but those people who have them, and I've seen the files from it, it's good, man. It's very good. So I think it's, you know, everybody likes to call Nikon the potato, but what they're doing with these new cameras is genuinely crazy. Yeah. I just wish we could get bigger chips, man. I just want bigger chips and more depth of field. I don't need, you know, 16K. I don't need fucking 24 stops of dynamic range. You know, I just want a larger sensor so that we can use some of these beautiful big old lenses on them and get some beautiful depth of field. Just because it's just tough to beat that. It is tough to beat that kind of medium format depth of field is so good. But it doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. Fuji's kind of playing with it. Fuji with their GFX, brilliant camera. I've shot with it a couple of times, several times in fact, and like the files are good, but you know, and we've kind of looked at them on here before, but you wouldn't immediately go, oh, medium format, right? Like something like these in here, you know, and you can see the aspect ratio is medium format, but yeah, like you know, the depth of field, you're not looking at this going, oh yeah, medium format, because that chip is only marginally larger than the 35mm chip. So we'll see. That being said, and I've mentioned this on here before, this was probably shot wide open as well. But the lenses that the G lenses or whatever it is that Fuji are making for this GFX, they're casting a bigger circle of image, right? So as you know, light comes into a lens and it casts this circle onto the back of the chip and that sort of thing. But Fuji have made those lenses with growth in mind. So I am hoping, I'm surprised we haven't heard of it yet, but I'm hoping they're going to get a bigger chip soon, because the lenses are already prepped for it. So we'll see. Yeah. So Steve shared this with me as well, which I hadn't seen. So Nanlux Evoke 600C and 150C. So Nanlux is the cinema range of Nanlite, right? So you've got, like we've got Godox has got its NOLED, and Nanlux is the big boy lights, right? As we can see here, yeah. So it's been kind of interesting to see them bring out this, which is smaller powered lights, like, you know, very small compared to like 1200 sort of things they've been doing in the past. So Nanlux is developing two all-new lights that will be joining the Evoke series, the 600C and the 150C. So C meaning color, to my knowledge. Both lights will feature all-in-one design. So yeah, again, good for all-weather protection. Exactly. So when it's so S-fit, Bowens mount, and the 150C will use the smaller FM mount ecosystem. So Nanlite sent me one of their 150C lights, and it is tiny. Like, it is tiny, right? And I presume it's the same mount here, so it uses a smaller mount. I mean, it comes with an adapter, so you can use S-fit modifiers on it, but it's a very, very small light. 150C even comes in a small box and that sort of stuff. It's impressive. It is impressive. But my point here is that it's interesting to see these companies kind of trying to tap into this, like the newer generation, like the lower end of the market in terms of streamers and YouTubers and that sort of thing. And because these low powered lights are not what you would use on a film set typically. You know. It's good to see Nanlux making smaller power draw fixtures, as a lot of users don't need high power draw fixtures that are heavy, expensive, and can't be run from household outlets. Valid point. Yeah, just want to plug it in. Off you go. Yeah. The Evoke series is Nanlux's premier line of professional LED spotlights. So that's what I'm saying. So this is the same as Godox's NOLED, right? This is a top end piece of kit. So it's interesting to see a lower end product entering that. Not lower end as in typically what the sort of user is going to be looking for. And includes the Evoke 900C and 1200, 2400, you know what I mean? Like 5000, like these are monsters, just absolute, just monsters on set. So it's just kind of crazy to see these being brought into it. Yeah. Anticipated both Evoke lights will launch Q3. Okay, so not too far away. Yeah. Just get Hasselblad and a bunch of lenses, no problem. I know, Janos. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. The other major benefit of the Hasselblad is that it's leaf shutter, right? So all of those beautiful lenses are all leaf shutters, so you can sync with flash very, very easily, and which is the reason that I went for. Well, it's not there; it's in the other room. But the Pentax that I use at the moment is leaf shutter, right? All the lenses that it comes with are leaf shutter lenses, which if you're not aware, it means that the shutter is the iris, basically opens and closes, right? And that's what happens on all Hasselblad lenses. So it means that you're not waiting for the mirror to be flapping around, which is harder for them to sync with flash and that sort of thing. So the leaf lenses means that you can sync with all shutter speeds with flash with it. So it's a major selling point, and the Hasselblad's having the inbuilt ability to do that, especially in the lens, is a significant selling point for sure. I would assume the GFX lenses like to be sharp in the corner. Well, this is the thing, Vlad. Yeah, and you could say that it's the build quality and all that sort of thing as well. But to my knowledge, and like I said, I don't have I don't have the facts to back this up, but to my knowledge from what I've heard is that glass is sending out a far larger image onto the chip. So to your point there, Vlad, yeah, so we're not seeing the edge of the lens, right? So we're only seeing like the kind of middle bit of the lens. So that's one of the reasons why it has minimal vignetting and very sharp edge to edge, is because they're only kind of using this middle section of the lens at the moment. So, if they enlarge the chip at some point, that would be my guess, based on why they've designed that lens to cast such a large image, then, whether it will still be sharp at the edges, I guess we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah. Hey, Daniel, how you doing, mate? Yeah. Don't get a blad if you like focus on low light cinema kit. Okay. The duality of man in chat tonight. So which one do you have, Daniel? Which blad do you have? Are you talking about like one of the newer ones? Because I mean, they're Sony chips now, right? The Hasselblads are using Sony chips, yeah. But now we have LEDs who needs flashes. I mean, like, you're joking, but yeah, I mean, like, the cost of the LED lights has come down so much now that yeah, it's becoming very, very viable to have very powerful LED lights now, like 600 watt, 500 watt heads for what, 500 quid or something is crazy. Yeah. So you have I think I know which one that is, Daniel. Yeah, let's have a look. I probably spelled that wrong, but I don't know. The microphone's in the way, so I'm typing slow. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so it's this one here. Yeah. Okay. So I was looking at a file a guy was showing me the other day, and one of the guys that I do some work with, and it was beautiful. I gotta say, man. Now, whether it's the lens or not, but like the drop off was absolutely gorgeous. Like, noticeably kind of, I said to you about the GFX, like, can you really tell it's medium format? Not really, but with this you could do for sure. And it was absolutely beautiful drop off and very, very sharp. But what you're saying is that it just doesn't cope in low light. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, it's never ever an issue for studio shooters, right? Low light, because we could just add more light, so it's never really an issue. I mean, it's only in the recent years that I've even come off ISO 100, and that's, you know, because of LEDs, doing things with LEDs. But yeah, so you're selling it, yeah? Okay, okay, interesting. What are you going to get instead? You going to stick with Hasselblad, or are you just going, you know what, I'm done. Yeah, somebody sent me a video literally this afternoon of the Hasselblad, one of the new Hasselblads. I think it was new, and it's kind of image stabilization, and he was shooting like a waterfall at 1 second, and obviously the waterfall, like the water was blurred, but the waterfall itself was like the rocks and stuff, or the water falling off the rocks, but it was kind of crisp. So I was like, and that was 1 second long exposure handheld, and so they obviously got some decent tech in there for me. Yeah, decent tech in there. Look at this. It was a waste of money for me. Is this you, Daniel? Is this your Reddit article? Okay. So Daniel says color reproduction, light quality when it does grab focus is amazing. So yeah, this is what this guy was saying. He said the focus was a nightmare. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, low light is awful. Moving subject, not even particularly low, just leaf lens. Okay, just locking up. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think Hasselblad has kind of had this quirky, you know, oh, it's all part of it. It's all part of the Hasselblad experience, and you know, it's for a connoisseur of photography. You really got to, you know, you got to earn the image, and like I get it, I do get it. And look, I will say the images that I saw from this guy, and it was photographed from just girl in front of a window. It was beautiful. So I don't know. Would I be prepared to kind of put up with some shit for the final image? For sure. But would I shoot it, you know, for commercially when I need to get images like that? Yeah, you're right. It is going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. It says my story. Oh shit. Okay, that's cool. So it was just telling me that the story on Instagram where saying I'd gone live hasn't uploaded. I just had to click OK. Hey Nicky, how you doing, man? Sony A7R5 for me now. Oh, I've gone to the Sony side. Need to be able to grab focus when I want. I mean, you can't argue with the Sony focusing, right? I mean, that thing is very, very quick. Yeah. So you've just gone for the generic look, right? You just want to be just another regular guy. That's fine. I get it. Yeah, you don't want your images to have any personality or anything. That's fine. Yeah, that's cool. I'm only teasing. Have you sold it and switched, or have you already switched to Sony and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is it for me. You've got to earn the image of a Hasselblad. It's true, man. Yeah, it's true. I'd have to rubber bank or something before I could buy one. Oh, you earn it as in like that? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you got to earn enough money to buy it to begin with. Yeah, but that's the same with medium format film, and you know, it's a lot of extra work. It is a lot of extra work, but I can't help but always just be, you know, impressed. I know I showed this before. Where is it? I know you guys have seen this before, but you know, so like here's a good example, because this is just the regular Nikon D850, right? Probably wide open, right? And then down here we have the medium format film, and it's just night and day difference to me, you know, just in terms of like the focus fall off and that sort of thing. But it's so much more work, you know. And even the shadows, like I love how the shadows just kind of, I don't know, inky black shadows. It's just beautiful on film. Very, very difficult. But yeah, medium format film is a lot of extra work, but if you've got the time, it's tough to argue with the results, man. It really is. I mean, this camera's what, 1950, 1960s. I mean, the damn thing is like 60, 70 years old, for Christ's sake, you know. So this is what I mean when I see people arguing about cameras and that sort of thing. Cameras, really, buying a new camera gives you a lot of convenience, and that's kind of it. You know, you can take images like this on a 70-year-old camera. Is kind of crazy. I have the camera pointed over there because I'm going to be putting the light up in a minute, but but with lighting, like people scrimp and save on lighting. They'll have like a $4,000 camera and lens, and then they'll be using like a 40 quid speed light. It's just, it's dumb. Yeah. So you know, just far better off spending money on lighting than cameras, personally. Yeah. But that's just me. Had both going to put up on eBay if any takers here. I know, man. Yeah. Oh, look, I was really impressed with it. I was really impressed by the image. I genuinely was really impressed. So yeah, I would, if I saw one for a half decent price. Like I said, from the images that I saw, I know it's a pain in the ass, but for it's definitely a camera that I would have alongside my proper camera, right? It's not something that I would just get rid of everything else and have, but I was really impressed by it. Yeah, I was really impressed by it. So I think there was nothing crazy in the news. Like I said, I haven't been digging too deeply into the news this week, so it hasn't been a ton. So it was kind of about it. It was really just finish off with any crap that you guys, not crap, but interesting articles that some of you guys sent me. This was kind of wild, right? So this was a valet, and he was taking, you know, so those of you don't live in the US or whatever, so you pull your car up, you go into the hotel or restaurant or whatever, and then the valet comes out and parks your car for you. So he was then taking pictures of the insides of these cars that you came across. Some of these wild, man. Yeah, it's just like, it's just the most American cars, you know. Like, what? Like, imagine just getting in to park this dude's car, and it's just like, okay, you know. Yeah, so some of these shots I thought were really, really cool. I love this kind of storytelling that is just indicative of a certain time period or place. I think is very, very, very powerful. Yeah. Let's talk. Yeah, right. Yeah. What else? What else was there? Oh yeah, have you guys seen this? I did not know this was a thing. Right? I was like, is this a meme, or are they winding me up? But no, it seems to be what they use to kind of spin crap off the lens. I had not seen this before. Yeah, kind of wild. I mean, it makes sense, right? And that's what that is. How often have we seen that on ships? I've never known what that is. So I just thought I'd share that because I never knew what those circular things were. Like, if you're shooting in crazy weather, you need a spinning lens cover, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Speaking of powerful LEDs, that's kind of crazy. Some of these shows that I've seen with LEDs recently have been nuts. And obviously you kind of need this enclosed space to kind of fill them with some kind of haze or smoke or something. But yeah, the stuff that you can do with these beams in a kind of atmosphere like this now, just because LEDs are able to send light, you know, collimate the light very strongly, or, you know, in a very straight line, like almost like lasers, right? Kind of nuts. I don't think there's anything too crazy. Oh, last one, this was kind of nuts. So this is an art piece, but if you guys seen those diffusion covers that you get on certain lights now, so I've got the Rotolite Titans here, and they have a diffuser that you can kind of dial in, and it's the same with like secrecy glass in like office buildings or bathrooms and that sort of thing. Like, you close the door, it creates a circuit, and the glass gets frosted. So what they've done here is they've managed to kind of do this with the glass in such a way that it's kind of frosting over in this kind of sections like this, and then they just manipulate it with a program or software to do this. A beautiful shadows though on the floor. I think I would I think I could, imagine doing something with film with the shadows on the floor. But nuts. It'd be so cool. Yeah. Look at that. So good. Yeah. I'm a big raver, and the EDM light shows are awesome. Nice, man. Nice. Yeah. It's been a while. I have certainly. This is weird, totally off topic, but I have certainly been getting back into some of the old house music, which is just indicative of my age, I suppose, from back in the late '90s or early 2000s and that sort of stuff. It's been crazy, I want to buy that kind of glass fronting on a DIY light. I know, yeah. I mean, we don't see it that often. I don't know how viable it is. Like, it is cool to have. I think that for me, when I use it, I will say for the type of work that I do, I either have it 100% or I have it at 0. But having it on the front of the Titans is really nice, and it's just permanently there. So you can just have it, you just dial it in. You just have this permanent softbox that you can kind of turn on and off just at the flip of a switch. Is very cool. But in terms of dialing it in, like, I just want 12% diffusion and that sort of stuff it has its place. And Godox are bringing out the screens now. They're not attached to the light, but they're independent screens that they can dial it in and that sort of thing. So there must be a use case for it in cinema for sure. Yeah. I'm going to try and grab focus with the Hassie while shooting through that diffusing glass. Really, you got to earn it, Daniel. You need to earn it, mate. If you want that good image, I want to see some earning going on. So I just want to briefly mention this because I had loads of questions over the week about in several different places about these shots and what I'm using here. Typically not to do with the article that I wrote about, which normally happens, but people are asking about diffusion, and we should be just kind of talking about here smoke and haze and all that sort of stuff as well, like kind of what are the differences. So people were asking what sort of filter I'm using here. This is no filter at all. This is all haze. So all of this is just haze in the room. That's it. There's nothing on the lens at all. And one of the reasons to use haze over a lens filter is going to be depth, right? So there's going to be more hazy back here than it is here, right? Because as the shot, looking into the room. So this is why for kind of setups like this, this is a fake setup in a studio, but there's still depth in there. There's I've got an image projected back here, and I've got curtains, then I've got a gap, then I've got the lamp, then I've got her, and I've got the arm of the chair, and so we're seeing this kind of depth into the image, and this is where haze can really have an effect over a lens filter that would just give you just a very uniform amount of diffusion, right? So that's kind of a haze, yeah. I asked about the bulbs. You did ask about the bulbs. You did, Vlad. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Vlad was asking about these bulbs. He asked, were they LED bulbs or were they actual tungsten incandescent bulbs? And the reason why he asked is because in certain countries, incandescent bulbs is pretty much outlawed, right, for energy conservation, all that sort of stuff as well. So it's actually kind of difficult to get hold of tungsten bulbs now. So we're not in the EU here, so I don't think it's a major issue here, but I know they are shunned. Everybody is switching to LED bulbs in the home, and because it saves you money, right? But for lighting on the skin and that sort of stuff, incandescent bulbs all day. I would never use an LED bulb here on the skin. No way. So yeah, Flab was just asking about that sensibly. Yeah. So smoke, right? People ask about smoke and that sort of thing. I had a lot of questions about the smoke going, well, is it smoke? So this is what smoke looks like, right? It's very three-dimensional, chunky, billowing type of smoke, right? So it looks like somebody is kind of smoking a cigarette sort of thing, right? And it's kind of more, you kind of get it here, but it's a little bit more billowy, more like it's heavily focused here and less over here and that sort of stuff. So smoke is this kind of billowing type effect. I don't use it very often just because I don't like it, and this is kind of dissipated a little bit here, but here you can see it's very structured, right? So very kind of three-dimensional, has this structure to it, and you immediately, when you look at it, you go smoke, right? As opposed to haze, which you shouldn't really notice. So this is kind of interesting because so Smoke Ninja, you know, if you've seen it, the little handheld smoke machine. So I was given one, and I was kind of told to, or asked to, you know, take some shots with it and that sort of stuff, and, you know, share it. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, handheld smoke machine, pretty good, and it is great. It's phenomenal. But the way that I use it is for haze, right? So I give them images that look like this, and they're like, "Where's the smoke?" So it's really kind of interesting that for me, when I'm using haze and that sort of thing, I really don't want the first thing you look at to be smoke, right? I really don't want it to be like, oh, they're using smoke, which is what all the advertising images for Smoke Ninja looks like. It just looks, yeah, you just got a handheld smoke machine like in the background. That's exactly what it looks like, and I'm trying to kind of avoid that. So if you want that type of look, it's fine, use a smoke machine, but it's going to be very three-dimensional like that. So here we have, I think there's haze here as well, right? So we can kind of see the haze glowing around the bulbs here, and we can see that it's kind of creating flare here because there's a light on her like camera back right here, right? And that's what's giving us this glow here. We can kind of see the glow from it here, but this is a jet black background. So in this studio shot here, that's just a pure black background. So without the haze in this image, that's going to be black back there. It's just going to be too heavy and too harsh for the type of look that I wanted. Now a lens filter is going to be fine, but it's not going to make it so that we have this kind of tone and kind of warm color back there. So haze enables you to kind of create this sense of depth where there is none, because having a pure black background back here is just not going to be a good look, right? And then here I got some examples of with and without lens filter. So we got two, you know, pink lights either side, right? So no lens filter, and then here we can see the effect that lens filter has, right? So we have kind of almost more of a centralized glow. So this is just using a low contrast or black pro mist type thing, right? And it's going to give us these glows where the kind of light is. But you can see the difference, right? It's a huge difference. So nothing has changed in this setup, like lighting wise or camera settings wise. Nothing's changed at all, other than the fact that you're using a lens filter on the lens. So it makes a big difference to the shot, right? As long as you like it, right? But yeah, just so you know, so you can see it coming in up there. So here you go. So this is without and with. You know, so it's a huge difference, right? So zero haze in this room, but it's all done with lens filter. So I kind of wanted to just clear that up here, because I get it asked a lot. You know, is it lens filter? Is it smoke? That sort of thing. So that's the kind of differences that, or the reasons why I'm using them or not using them. So here, haze is perfect. I need to see this depth back here because pure black background is it's going to give me data where there is none. Right here, we're creating interest in the top of frame here, just giving us some extra depth here where there kind of may not be any, typically. Yeah, and then here we've got this kind of billowing, kind of very obvious smoke effect. Yeah. 20 Rothmans. That's it. We used to do that back in the day at art college, and in fact, I remember we were doing it once. We were trying to create smoke, and like we used to smoke a lot back then anyway. But it was just like 20. I think we had menthols as well. It was horrendous, and we were just like, right, it's just, you know, light like 20 cigarettes to try and get the smoke going, and we put them in the ashtray. And for some reason, right, we had like just the ashtray. It was a large glass ashtray, and just with all the lit cigarettes around the outside creating smoke. Right, I mean, this is not advised. But the ashtray exploded. No word of a lie. This solid glass ashtray exploded. And I don't know, like, just because it had all like the hot, like 20 hot cherries just all sat in it like that. And for whatever reason, fucking hell, I mean, almighty explosion. And I mean, thankfully, like we were there, because I mean, that would have been one hell of a fire, right? Can you imagine? You saying about 20 Rothmans then, Daniel, took me back to that. I remember this ashtray just absolutely just exploding there. Yeah, when we were trying to take this shot in our, I don't know, we were just in a student accommodation somewhere, flat somewhere. Yeah. Did you grab the shot? With I mean, we got the shot. We certainly had smoke in the room, but we probably took 10 years off our life. The room was hanging. Can you imagine? Yeah. I didn't get with the Blair. I think we were shooting the Mamiya 645 back then, which was a little bit far more user friendly. Yeah. Okay. I just think you should have mentioned the LED bulbs are a no-go with that article. It's something to, yeah. I mean, I've never used them, Vlad, because I wouldn't. But I think it is a valid point, yeah. And it's something that I might dig into. I don't even own any, but I might, after your points and us kind of chatting about it, I might get some and just kind of see the differences, right? And actually, is it just Emperor's New Clothes, or it's like, oh my god, yeah, there's a reason why we don't use these. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah. The vapes, yeah, a lot of people. Jamie, was it you saying you use a vape, or I know a lot of people just use vapes, yeah, because some of the vapes create a ton of smoke, right? So if you've already got one, then why not? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on and talk about the light that we're going to be looking at today, which is going to be the Nanlite Pavoslim 120C. Okay. So this is the fella here, right? So it's an LED panel that we're going to be looking at. I got one here. So this smaller square is the 60, and the one they sent me was the 120. Okay. And looking at these panel here, like LED panel, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. So what's the big deal with this? Why would we need a panel, or what is a panel offering? Kind of those sorts of things, right? So we're going to have a look at that now, and I'm going to dig it out here and set it up. Yeah. So let's have a look. So it comes in this big box, as you may well imagine. In fact, it's got the box down here. The reason I'm spending time talking about this is, where is the box? Yes, this is the case it comes in, right? So it's a very deep case, and the reason it's deep is because of this power unit here, on like control box here even, right? So it has to be this thick, but the rest of it fits in a tiny slot. So there's tons of free space in this bag. I'm only saying this is because it has to be this thick because of this, but if you wanted to carry this in a different bag, this whole unit would just go in the back of a rucksack, because these clamps and that sort of stuff don't take up much room. The panel is dead flat, as you can see. So if you were to kind of separate it out, it would take up hardly any room at all. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that just because the box is big, but it's got a lot of empty space in it. Oh. Let's kind of flip to a full screen here. I'm just going to cover a couple of these questions before we move on. The reason 70 CRI, I'm saying the smoke injures a vape. Oh, yeah, because the size of it certainly is. Yeah, it's a lot more expensive. Yeah. Jimmy says used a vape now and again, no nicotine. Not poser, just needed a small smoke machine. You're right, Jimmy. Yeah, there is tons of flavored vapes that you can get, and there's no nicotine in it. So yeah, you could definitely just use. I don't know what you use. You use cherries and cream or something like that. Look, I'm not judging. You do you. But yeah, you don't need any nicotine. Okay, let's switch to full screen here a second. And definitely try not to forget about it again. Okay. So, right. This is it here. So, you got an idea of the size of it. Very, very lightweight, and it comes out the box without this diffusion cover on it, right? So there's no reason why you wouldn't have this on personally, but you can take it off very easily. It's just all velcroed on. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple of ways you can attach it. It has just a regular spigot that you can put on there, or it has this clamp here that goes in there, and it's got tons of ball joints on the end there, so pretty easy. So that just slots in there, and that slots in there, and that's locked in now, right? And then, you know, like I said, you have all these kind of ball joints on the back there. You can adjust it as you see fit, okay? One thing that I thought was pretty impressive about these ball joints on there is because there's two on there. So there's a ball joint close to where the light is, and there's another ball joint close to where the actual light stand would be, right? So there's a ball joint there, and there's a ball joint here. So you've got two. I thought it was just going to be a mess when it's on the light, on the stand. You put it up there, and it's actually very easy to kind of grip and hold with those ball joints. Which is obviously good. So, pretty standard, right? Next, we've got the control unit, or the control box thing here, which is it's big. It's not heavy, but this is what we need to plug everything into. This can sit in a minute. I'll just clamp it to the stand, and we can also use batteries on here as well. So if you had the V-Lock mount batteries, you can use this. You don't need to plug it into the wall. You know, you can just use this to power the light as well. So that's what that is, right? A nice handle just to hang it on the stand if you need to, but the clamp that it comes with is very, very sturdy for sure. Which is this thing here, right? So regular super clamp here, yeah, so the Manfrotto super clamp thing, and then this attachment here that they've made goes on for the V-mount, right? And all these super clamps have the screw holes in there, so you could kind of put whatever you wanted on there, but they've made this for the V-Lock, which is a great idea. So that goes on there pretty damn snug, and then we can just clamp this on or click this on. There's a little button at the back that you use to pull up as well. Okay. So next up we've got the two cables. So we're going to need one to actually plug into the wall, right? This one, and then this one is actually going to plug into the box and then the light, right? Now, all of these come with this standard Velcro, which is nice. Everything kind of goes away real clean, which is good. And all of the cables with this light have this attachment where you kind of just like push it in and then it kind of slots closed, so you're not faffing around too long or anything like that. It just everything kind of snugs in, and then this little sheath here kind of closes behind it, and then to unplug it you just got to twist this sheath and then pull off. So everything's pretty user friendly in terms of click and go. So make sure you get the right ends. And then we need to do the same with the power, right? I will say, I know it's a small thing, but all the Nanlux stuff I have all comes with these Velcro things. I know you can pick them up for like pennies, but again, it's just another attention to detail that Nanlux kind of has with all of their kit that I find very noticeable. Just because my other lights is just cables everywhere. Right, I gotta plug that in, hang on. Okay. So that's at 1% now. All right. So let's have a look. So that only goes at full percent. Now, I'm going to open up the app in a second. I wonder if you can turn that down in like 0.1%. But anyway, do that in a second. So as we can see here, we can see the makeup. You might not be able to see it here, but we can see the makeup of the LEDs on there. And then we have this kind of pop out softbox here. Yeah, so it's just Velcroed on there, and you see that softbox pops out. So there's kind of compression in there, like metal strips in there that kind of keep it popped out. And we do the same on the other side. You can see it pop out there. Yeah. So now we have this kind of mini softbox sat on the front, which is nice, and it also comes with a grid, which is very easy to put on, because I thought it was going to be that awful Velcro stuff that you kind of put on, but it has these kind of flaps here in each of the corners. So it should be relatively easy to put on. Famous last words. So yeah, it's snug, but it's not impossible, right? It's pretty easy to put on. Okay, and then what's immediately obvious to me when this comes out is how lightweight that is. It's very, very lightweight. So like I said, that whole case as well. If you didn't have the control box here, you wanted to carry that separately. Like this thing here is very, very light. So decent size as well. So this is the 120C, so this means that it's full color. Right, so we can adjust we got the CCT mode here. We got the HSI, the RGB. So hue, saturation, intensity. Let's have a look. Yeah. So standard stuff, right? I'm just kind of curious actually with the app. I want to see what we can do with it. Let's have a look. I suppose we could try and load it up on the screen here, because that always goes well. Okay, let's see if we can run this via the phone on the app here. Let's see. Okay, so let me pop to the. So we got new scene. Yeah. Test. Let's see if it finds the light, and if not, might have to reset the Bluetooth. But yeah, get ready for starting. You fuckers, man. So that is. Let's see. Can we get a new fixture via Bluetooth? Oh shit, saw it straight away. I actually was fully expecting to have to reset that. Let's see if it actually works. Let's see. That was instant, right? Okay. And your value between. Okay. There's another fixture in the list using the address. So we were so close for it working. Between what? Let's just go 99. Interesting. Okay. So that's definitely connected to it. Whether we can manage it or not, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so there it is there. Nice. Is it slow because it's going through there or not? Okay, so at 50%, let's take it down. Okay. Okay, so it is only in 1%. Okay. Okay. But the rest of it, pretty straightforward, right? So we've got HSI in here. Nice. Okay. Yeah, cool. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, so pretty easy to use app as well, right? Pretty responsive. Even running it through the Mac here, pretty responsive. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's have a look. So check out the questions here. Currently editing 3 images to make the feedback at the end. Oh, nice one, Jamie. Yeah. Yeah. Surely a smoke ninja shouldn't be seen. It's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not seen. It's just that they wanted to see that it was obvious that you're using smoke. Yeah. I'd have a collapsible softbox up by now, Jay. So those, I got a shoot tomorrow, and I was just. I need a softbox for a background, believe it or not. And I found one that Essential Photo sent me, and it is like the speed ring pop-up one. I was like, Jesus, man, this is so much easier. Yeah, you just literally just pull a handle on, just pops up. It's wild. Yeah. Okay. Let's turn this off then. Let's turn this because we know that it works. Let's not. Let's not create any more problems, right? But I mean, pretty straightforward. For some reason, I had to give it a specific number that wasn't being used or something like that. I hadn't really come across that before. Normally, it's automatic. But the point was, even on the Godox one that I was using, I had to reset the Bluetooth on it. But this one was just straight in, which was good. Hey, no worries, Janos. Yeah, take it easy, man. So, what is the point in this LED panel? Why? You know, they said, do you want to have a look at this? And look, you know, I've been shooting a long time and got a lot of kit here. Is there any reason for me to have yet another light? So the reason I said yes was because I wanted to test out what an LED panel like this would do in terms of lighting on the skin, right? And what do I mean by that? So previously, like last stream, we spoke about these little Godox heads, the MS60. You know, basically Coke cans size heads, and we were firing them into reflectors. So we're basically extending the distance at which light was traveling, and that is going to kind of compress the light fall off, right? So the further light has to travel, the less kind of difference we're going to see in exposure, right? And we'll kind of look at that in a minute. I've already got some diagram that I kind of want to show you. But a light panel is going to do the opposite to that, right? So rather than us using those reflectors to send light across the room and then bounce it off a reflector and then onto the subject, so basically sending light like 20 feet, really kind of extending how far that light is traveling, and as a result, kind of compressing that light fall off. What does the opposite look like? So what if we bring in a panel that is made up of, you know, hundreds of tiny little LEDs, right, spread out over a very large area, and then bring that in super close to the subject? The opposite is going to happen with the light. So with the light being super close, now it means that the light is going to drop off very, very quickly, right? So we're going to get this light and then dark very quickly, as opposed to sending the light over a greater distance where it's going to be light and then almost exactly the same light. Okay, so that's kind of why I wanted to test this panel and bring it in close and see how beautiful we could kind of get that light drop off to be. So let me just kind of scooch into Photoshop here a minute, and let's have a look. We got the. Did you guys? Okay, that was weird. Okay, that was weird. Okay, so what I wanted to kind of show you here was what I was trying to explain last time, but the stream lagged out and that sort of stuff. So if it starts lagging out again, I guess tough. Let's see. Okay, so what are we talking about here? So we know the sun is like, what, 1.5 million miles away or something like that. A long, long, long way away from us. And, you know, this is us here on Earth, right? And let me just get a nice bright color here so we can see. Let's get like a brush that we can kind of, yeah, that's fine. So the light is, you know, the sun is, you know, like I said, 1.5 million miles away, so a long way away. Okay, and then, you know, this is kind of us down here, right? And let's take a light meter reading of this person, and then let's take a light meter reading of that person. So let's say here, right? Sorry, my tablet, because I'm mirroring the screens for the stream, my tablet is super sensitive because it's the tablet thinks the screen is like 5 feet wide. So look, if we were to take a light meter reading here, right, of this person, and then take another light meter reading here of this person, because the sun is so far away, even though these people are like what, 5 feet apart or something like that, they're going to be exactly the same exposure. Yeah, because the sun is so far away that when we take a measurement of somebody on Earth anywhere, like these two people could be 100 feet away, 200 feet away, right, miles apart, and they're going to be exactly the same exposure here as they are here, right? Because of how far away the sun is, there's almost zero drop off when it comes to 1.5 million miles, right? So, you know, this is kind of what we were talking about in the previous stream with the reflectors. We were trying to bounce reflectors from, trying to bounce light off of reflectors, you know, to kind of double the distance and therefore kind of increase that drop off to give us more of that natural light look, which was actually happening on stream. When I was editing the live stream and kind of putting the cut together, and I was looking at the lighting on my face, I was like, that does look like kind of, you know, window light coming in, because that light is traveling so much further. The light drop off is been kind of compressed, so it's almost the same, right, on my face as it is my shoulder and that sort of thing. So this is the sun. So now what happens if we kind of do this with, you know, like studio lighting, right? So we bring in like a studio light here, and kind of do the same here, right? So now we have our subject here, right? And we have our studio light here, and then what happens if we have like somebody else here, right? So if we were to take a light meter reading now on these two people between here and here, we know that there is going to be a difference because this light is so much closer, right? If we were to kind of break it down here, let's say, you know, the distance between here is almost like a quarter of this, so we're almost going to be losing like at least half a stop of light here because of how close this light is. Yeah, so because the sun is so far away, there's almost no light drop off at all. When we start to bring that light in very close, now we're going to start to see this light drop off. So what happens then when we really kind of compress that, right? So what happens if we were to take this light and let's say we made it into a large soft panel, right, and bring it super close? So now when we take a light meter reading here and then maybe even a light meter reading at the back of the head, right, now we're going to start to see that light drops off very, very quickly. Okay, so we're going to start to see it being brighter on the face and then it kind of darker as we get towards the back of the head because of how close that light is. Now, typically with like a normal flash, right, or even like a light that we have here, you see here we have the kind of the bulb in the middle, and then this light is coming out like this. Yeah. So it's not a very flattering light. Yeah. But what if we were to kind of swap that out, like I said, for a panel, right? So we have our panel, and now all this light is coming out very, very evenly. So it's not spreading out like this because it's in super close. We're now going to have a very even spread of light, and that's what something like this panel can really add or offer to the light that we're bringing in there, and it ends up being a very, very, very beautiful light. Bring in super close, beautiful fall off, very even, clean all over. So very, very beautifying looking light, and we have that very controllable light because we bring it in super close and very, very quick drop off. Okay. So hopefully the stream didn't lag out too much. Was it okay when I was in Photoshop there? Just wanted to check. Let's have a look at some of the shots that I took using this panel as well. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. So a couple of the shots you've already seen me share on Facebook, right? You've already seen me share those ones. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these. So this is just with the panel just off to the right there. Okay, so camera right, and it's in kind of pretty close, and it's kind of set to like a warmer, I don't know, like 3,500 Kelvin or something like that. So pretty warm, right? And same thing again, bringing it in super close, but it's still very manageable here. So again, just you can see the panel in there. I think it does have the grid on it as well, but very close, and with very clean drop off here. And on the other side, which is without that light panel on, like in here is just going to be dark, right? So very manageable light, yeah, because it's in super close. Like I said, the drop off of light very quick. Very quick. And this is what panels can offer that is kind of unique to other types of light. You can't do this with a cob light, right, with a single point light, because it's spreading out from a centralized point, whereas these panels is spreading out light over an even area. And beautiful light in close. Now, if you get further away, it drops off very quickly, but you can do a lot with it, okay, in terms of, you know, managing that power. Okay. Beautiful quality of light though. Okay. Now here, I just wanted to take this shot. This is, I'm kind of shooting just underneath it here, and we can see that she had very heavy eyelashes. So even though that this panel is horizontal, right, above her here, right, and I'm shooting just underneath it, I could not get catch lights into her eye. So this catch light is coming from the blue softbox I have behind me here, which is casting these blue fill-in shadows. But I took this beauty light here, and we can see the shadow here, right? So it's coming from that panel above, very soft. You see that shadow, but see how that light is falling off down the face so quickly. It's crazy, yeah. And you know, look at the shadow here on the cheekbones, right? So you know, she's really emerging from that shadow there. And I'm filling in that shadow with the blue softbox behind, but the point still stands is that, you know, bringing in that light super close, you really, you know, you can really get somebody to kind of, you know, emerge from the shadow, as it were, and really create a lot of sculpting on the face by bringing in this panel very close. So I haven't shared these yet, but I also had some shots outside. Let's have a look. Here we go. Yeah, these ones here. Let's see, we got these ones here. So it's a softbox in the background. Would you mean in those previous shots, Steve? So in here, these ones. So the lighting setup is I'm using the projection unit, the Godox projection unit. So I've just got a gobo in there that's kind of cutting the light in half. So this is shining white light onto a white background, and then this is the gobo is creating like a kind of a section here where it is just shadow, and that shadow is being filled in by the blue softbox behind, and then I have the panel here above the head, right? So it's basically a 3-light setup. So on the left of me, I have the projection unit firing that very strong white light onto the background. Gobo is carving it in half, so we have shadow down here. The blue softbox behind me is filling in that shadow with blue light, and then I'm using the panel just above the model's eye line here to actually illuminate her. So hopefully that answers your question about softbox in the background. So this is outside, right? So it's a daylight, and then I have this panel just off to camera right here, and again, right, in super close, and then the panel is set to what I think, whatever the lowest this goes in Kelvin. What is it, 2,500? Let me just check. So the lowest that goes is 2,700. So that's what, so that warm, yeah, that CTO, that warm color I'm firing onto her, yeah, and then daylight around her, which is that blue color, which is probably going to be closer to, like, this is getting towards the end of the day, so probably closer to like 6,000 Kelvin or something like that. And then I've set my camera to round about like 4,000, so in the middle, right? So what happens is that the daylight goes blue, and then the orange on her face goes orange, right? So you set the camera's white balance to the middle, which enables you to get blue and orange in the same shot. But you're able to use the, you know, the kind of tones of this, so that, as we can see down here, as that kind of drops off, and basically the two color temperatures mix. So we got the blues and the oranges, but see, when they mix, you kind of almost get this neutralized skin tone down. You know, you can't really, it's probably happening around here, but yeah. So as that kind of orange drops off, it's mixing in with the blue. So you can see the daylight is acting as the fill light on the leg here, so it's still blue down there. But that's how you're able to get these kind of colors. Yeah. Bringing it in super close, and you can see how much the panel is having effect, because wherever we see the orange on the jacket here, that's a direct reflection of the panel in the jacket, and we can see the catch lights in the eyes there is only coming from that panel, right? So it's outside. It's, you know, I mean, it's not noon or anything, but it's certainly not dark. This was shot a few weeks ago. It was a sunny day, so the power of this is certainly viable for sure. Yeah, and you can see the catch lights in the eyes there. This is using that Petzval lens, okay? So there's no funny business going on here. This is that Petzval lens, and we can see that here. Just bring it down so you can actually see it in the stream there. So you can see this blurring effect here is all coming from that Petzval lens. So good, so good. It's a pain in the ass to use. So Daniel was talking about the pain in the ass of Hasselblad. That is nothing compared to this nightmare lens. This is rack and pinion focusing, Daniel. You're focusing using this dial here, and then the f stops go in there, right? So that's just the solid one at the moment. But you put f, I think I was using f 1.2 or something in there. You put it in there. So this is a real pain in the ass to use, but it's a lot of work. But it is such a beautiful look, man. Absolutely gorgeous drop off here. Beautiful kind of radial effect. And again, here we can see this. Let's have a look. So same thing again here with the Petzval lens, but look at it down here. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So the only downside is that it's really only kind of semi-sharp-ish in the middle, right? So like here, you know, even the eyebrow here is starting to blur as well. So there's a very small area in the middle which is kind of focus-ish, but the rest of it is creating this very dramatic effect. Yeah. Same here, Petzval again. I mean, if you can give this lens something to work with, and I never really get a chance to use it in the studio because it just doesn't have any effect on a blank background. It just doesn't see anything. But you know, if you're out on location or something like this, and you can justify putting the model's face in the middle, that's the other thing as well. I never normally have the model's face in the middle, but you know, trying to do something with the posing and that sort of thing, you can kind of get away with it here. But it is a beautiful effect. Yeah. But you know, look at the lighting on the skin here from just that panel. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Lovely, like a Helios a bit. Exactly, right, exactly. But this is like Helios cranked up to 20. Yeah. Helios is kind of, you know, it's definitely got a little bit of a little bit of emotion there in the edges, whereas Petzval is just banging you over the head with it. It's not going to be for everybody, but if you've got something, like an image like this or a shoot where you can kind of warrant it, I think it works really well. Yeah. I know, Vlad. I was thinking about that. Yeah, you mentioned it last stream, and I was thinking about that, trying to get into my head of shooting landscape, shooting wide, and then cropping in afterwards. In post. Yeah, please. Yeah, 2.4:1 crop on some of these horizontal shots. I'll send you the black bar Lightroom preset. Yeah, I would be interested. I would be interested to see, because I think, because you mentioned it last stream, and it did make me think about it. Because it would only kind of be noticeable on the left and right, not as much on top and bottom. So it could be kind of cool. Yeah, could be kind of cool. Yeah. I know you're going to like this, I know you're going to hate this, but it looks so cinematic. I know, right? I know. Yeah. So we're watching a show at the moment on Prime, Amazon Prime TV, and it's called Paris Has Fallen, right? And I'm seeing more and more of this, but that whole show is shot with a very distorted lens around the outside, and it's not banging you over the head with it, but it's very, very distorted towards the edges, really, for like a normal show, right? I was just like, I was starting to see more and more of it, and I got invited down to like the opening event of CVP the other day, like the Creativity Hub thing, and there was a guy there who, his previous life was working with lenses and filters and that sort of thing, and he made some of the lens filters for the Batman movie, like the recent one, the Robert Pattinson one. Talking to him about it, and so I was going like, so they used the Helios on that Batman movie, right? And talking about the car scene and all that sort of stuff, because that's really grungy and like crazy. Like they had water on the lens and like just massive bokeh droplets in the foreground. Interesting guy. And he said, I've still got some of those filters. I was able to take them home. Yeah, after production on the Batman had wrapped. I was like, that's wild, man. Yeah, so he was working with the director on that, trying to get this look, and he was saying like it's cool, but they just want to be able to recreate it time and time again. So it's not this kind of airy-fairy, just ethereal look. It is like, no, that's cool, but I need to be able to kind of recreate this time and 60 takes later. Because I worked with a model who was an extra on the Batman, and she said it was a nightmare. She said it was like, because there's tons of rain in it and that sort of stuff, and she was saying that people were going home sick all the time, because we're talking like 60 takes to move a coffee cup from here to there, that sort of thing. So for them, they need it to be, this continuity the whole time, and especially on a film like that, where like she said, it was a nightmare. It sounds glamorous, but like you're there at 3 a.m. until like midnight, the following day, sort of thing, and you're just under rain cover the entire rough. Yeah, but everybody likes to watch the movie, but they don't really like to know how it was created. Yeah. I assume the panel is just out of shot, so around 20 to 30 is just out of shot. Yes, it is literally just out of shot. I think in the review, I'm going to try and include some of the BTS that actually shows it. It is like literally just out of shot. Yeah. So typically, Steve, what I'm looking for is kind of arms reach away, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of distance, right? I don't get them all to put outstretched their arms, but just as a guide, I'm like, that's kind of where I'm looking. Yeah. Well, we're way off topic. I think we're talking about the Nanlite Pavo Slim there. So these here, bringing it in real close. Look, I think that we are in this kind of era now where we used to shoot with strobes that were the kind of jack of all trades, right? And I mentioned this in my previous article talking about this, where the single point lights like the S-Fit Bowens mount lights that I used for like 20 years are cool, but what they did was they really just created this very jack of all trades look. You put a softbox, you put a hard light, projection unit, Fresnel, grids, barn doors, whatever you want, right? And it produced okay looking light, but it was never really you know, beautiful looking light from any of them, you know. And we kind of came from the Fresnel era of the 50s and 60s of the hot lights and that sort of stuff. Beautiful light, but a pain in the ass to use. Like, you burn yourself, consumes a ton of power, just melts the models. Like, there's tons of downsides to using those beautiful Fresnel heads, but strobes and their single point flashes gave us ton of flexibility and affordable. And I think now, moving forward from that into the era of LEDs, we're starting to see specific, you know, masters of lighting fixtures like tubes, right? Tubes create a beautiful looking light, but they're only good at that one look, right? Tubes only produce one look. You can't modify that. Oh, you can put a grid on it, okay, but you can't turn it into a hard light or anything like that. And, you know, panels like this one here is a good example of that. I think that it creates a beautiful looking light. It just absolutely just bathes the skin in this beautiful light. But obviously you can't modify it really. Okay, you can put a grid on it. I get it. But you know, you can't turn it into a hard light or anything like that. So I think for me, you know, having at least, you know, one half decent sized panel like this is going to be great as a key light, right? Just bring that in as a key light just in front there, and then do what you want with something else. But you're able to bring this in very, very close because the light is spread out over hundreds of little LEDs as opposed to one single point. This enables you to get very, very beautiful light, very, very fast drop off of light, and bring it in very, very close, and you know, you're just good to go. It's just easy. Yeah, easy. So that's why I was kind of interested in testing this out, is to see what this could offer in terms of a unique looking light. And it does do that. Yeah. So yeah, pretty impressed. Like I said, the review, I got a busy week. I got to shoot tomorrow. There's a tight deadline on that. So maybe try and get the review done this week. We'll see. But yeah, the review will be out on this, where we can kind of dig a little bit deeper there. If anybody's got any questions about it though, I will try and cover that in the review as well. I know last time a couple of you guys had some really interesting points on the Godox MS60s, and they were useful for the article. So if there's anything about this panel that you'd be kind of curious about finding out, obviously it's got tons of the presets in there with the lighting, you know, the color rainbow effects and the police car lighting effects and all that sort of stuff. It's got all of that in there as standard, right? The Kelvin range, I think, like I said, is 2.7, and it goes up to what was happening there was the dial has notches on it, and there's three windows. There's three numbers that I'm trying to land on the middle one, but the notches was kind of in between. It's kind of weird. So it goes up to 7,500 Kelvin. So not the hugest range, 2,700 up to 7,500, but it's going to be enough for most people, right? For the most part, it's going to be enough. Yeah, like I said, this was, you know, for these shots here, the light is set to 2,700 Kelvin, and which is not utilizing all of its power either, and we were still shooting in daylight. You can see the daylight behind her there. Yeah, I'll have all the camera settings and stuff, unless they might be here. Here you go. What we got? So there we go. Yes, shooting 85mm, 1.4, 500th of a second. Yeah, ISO 30, ISO 25. Interesting. Okay. So the fast shutter speed there is to try and get rid of some of the daylight, right? Because we're shooting wide open, 1.4 in broad daylight, and so the shutter speed is to try and combat some of that daylight, and then the ISO is doing the same thing. No worries, Daniel. Take it easy, mate. Yeah. So the camera is trying to crush the daylight, and then I'm trying to kind of overpower that with the panel on top of that. And Steve says we're using the grid. Yes, I was using the grid. I don't think I've taken it off, actually. Yeah. I think the grid doesn't change the quality of light. I think a lot of people get confused with that. I'm not saying that you're saying that, Steve, but I know in the past people have said, you know, the grid is going to make it harder or softer. It doesn't do it. It doesn't change any of that. All a grid does is make sure that it's going where you want it, right? If I take the grid off, it's just going to go all around the room. Yeah. But with that grid on, it kind of keeps it more focused. So the grid is kind of useful if like in the outside environment there, maybe it would give me a touch more power, you know. I know it's not giving me more power, but it's allowing more of that light to be channeled onto the model rather than lost out. So the grid is kind of useful for keeping as much of the light on the subject as possible, yeah, especially when you bring it in close like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that was all I wanted to cover with the Pavo Slim there. Yeah, they've given me a kind of list of things that I need to cover as well, which I will touch on those in the review. But yeah, I think for the most part, it's kind of what I wanted to kind of just show you the size and what it's doing. And you know, it's all very well to talk about a size or something like that, but until you actually see it, you know, and especially how lightweight it is and easy it is to use and all that sort of stuff. Basic stuff, but still valuable. Okay, so let's have a look at what you guys have been shooting here. Jamie, you ready? You got your image to share? Oh, Vlad, nice one, Vlad, nice one. See, Vlad always gets to the top of the list now, you see. Oh, Tina, nice. Well done, Tina. Love it. Love it. It's looking beautiful. Then I was in here before. Trinity was in there before. Tommy was in there before. This is looking cool, Tony. Looking forward to open this up. Oh, Jamie, loving this. You're just looking at this orange blue on the shiny fabric. Love it, mate. Nice. Hey, no worries, Tommy, man. Yeah, I hope you get your car sorted. That sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, and then Sterling with these football shot here. Okay, cool. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Okay. So just if anybody's joined in later on, we're just doing the share a shoot here. If you wanted to share what images you've been working on, you can do. Just pop it in the comments of this post in here, and we will take a look. As promised, here's my thumbnail for episode 1 of making my own photography like YouTube videos. So you've made this entirely, Vlad, right? As in, like, completely. Like even the frame and that sort of 3D printed. What's going on there? And also, whilst you're typing, what are you using here to create this flare? Have you got a lens filter on? Is it done in post with the flare, or you just spit on the lens? Like, what is this kind of glow effect coming from? Yeah. Nice little bit of color grad there. Like it, Vlad. Like it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Have you got the link for this video? Yeah, Vlad, if you have, share it. Yeah, I'd be interested to take a look. So we've got an image here from Tina. Profoto. Oh, so we do have a Profoto shooter in here. There we go. Profoto with umbrella with diffuser camera left. Okay. Yeah, we can kind of see this nice big catch light over here, Tina. Yeah. And Nanlite as well. And then we've got V flat right side plus a Nanlite FS300C. So that is the single point one, right? From the back. So this is this orange one here, right? Fell in love with a Nanlite and bought me a tiny Forza 60B that I'm hoping to play with sometime soon. Okay, nice. Okay, so this is looking good. This is looking good, Tina. Yeah, this is looking really nice. Yeah, it's looking beautiful. Let's just bring this into Photoshop here a minute. Let's have a closer look. What's going on? Kind of curious about the just looking at the catch lights there. Okay. So you said we've got a big umbrella over there. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you don't mind. Just going to give some kind of broad strokes here, just something to kind of think about. So with this, I love the fact that you've got this super soft light on, a lady that is more mature and that sort of thing. So super flattering light on her. So you've done a really good job of that, and beautiful light on her. We got a nice light on the hands as well as the face there. I'm just thinking about where that umbrella is, and what can sometimes happen. And you might be limited with the space that you have, right? So what can sometimes happen when we're using a big umbrella like that is we can bring it in. I mean, I have this nice big umbrella, boom, like, yeah, there's all this beautiful light coming in here. What's actually happening when we do this is that the light itself here is below the eye line here. So as a result, we tend to get just a little bit more light coming up here, like underneath, right, as opposed to coming down onto the subject, because what we're having is we're having more of this light kind of bouncing from below, right? So we have this kind of, most of the light is coming from below. And this isn't your fault, it's just the nature of bringing in a light super close like this, and it's an umbrella, it is bouncing light back, and it's being diffused and that sort of thing. But in a perfect world, if you had the space for it, which is not often the case, right, in a perfect world, you would kind of have this umbrella up here, right, and then you would have the light coming down a little bit more, right? So I know it's an umbrella, so light is going to be bouncing into the umbrella and then coming down. What we end up with is a far more flattering light coming down on the areas that we need it, right? So that light falling down as opposed to coming across. Yeah. So just something to kind of think about. Now, it's only kind of maybe more noticeable here because of the pose with the chin up. I think if she was like the chin down and that sort of stuff a little bit more, you probably wouldn't notice it, but just something to bear in mind. Yeah. But beautiful light. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Also, just watch the background in terms of what's going on with the background there. You see these kind of artifacts here in the background. I know that's coming from your orange light from behind. Just try and watch that, because it can be distracting in the final shot as well. Yeah. But beautiful image though. Yeah. I love the orange touch here with the RGB and the in her kind of orangey hair. It's beautiful, and of course works really well with the color contrast with the green dress. Yeah, it's really nicely done. Yeah, really nicely done. Even the lips and the nails match as well. It's nice. That scratching you can hear is my dog. I apologize. Trying to make a bed out of the carpet is not going well. Yeah. Let's just follow back here a little bit. So Vlad says, yeah, made it all from parts. The glow is my on the pocket camera. There's no color grading, by the way. Oh, there's no color grade. Okay, fair play, man. Okay, so the glow is coming from the diopet on the pocket camera. So you've got something. Is there something? I'm sorry if I'm missing that, Vlad. Is there something on the lens then? Yeah, I think there must be. Yeah. Please do. It's feathered. It's huge. Yeah, it won't make any sense to play without sound. It won't make any sense if you play it without sound, but it is stream safe. Oh, that's Vlad's video. Okay, nice. Yeah, I'll look at that. Sorry, I was seeing Tina's shots here. I think, yeah, I agree. It was lazy. Changed the umbrella. Gotcha. Yeah, thank you. From Nanlux. Okay, nice. Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah. But it is, I mean, like you said, you have feathered it there, Tina, so it is going to be very, very soft, which is beautiful. I mean, it works really well on her skin, right? You know, somebody with a few more years on the clock, I get it. It was a smart move to feather it, because feathering like a big, soft, you know, light like an umbrella already, and you're diffusing it and you're feathering it, so it's going to be super soft. But yeah, sometimes it's not possible to get it high enough as well in the space that you have, but just something to be mindful of. Yeah. Diopter, it's a +1 macro filter. It's full of dust. So interesting. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yes, I do know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look at Vlad's video here. So he made his own. Oh, you see the glow there now. Yeah. Okay. So how bright? What sort of settings are you getting? Oh shit, you got a lot of LEDs in there, man. That's wild. Damn. Okay. Yeah. And that's really tightly packed. I mean, all the LEDs that you like, any LED lights panels that you buy are never that tightly packed. Is there a reason for that? Like, couldn't they get super hot? Because you can't see it on stream because it's way too bright. But they're nowhere near as packed in this as they are in that. Do you think they do that because of heat or what? Yeah. So look, if you're into everything LEDs, go and check out Vlad's video here. Links in the description. But yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'll have a look at that. Although most of it is a bit beyond me, Vlad. Yeah, I mean, you're soldering and shit here. This is getting into MacGyver territory here. But like you said, it does mean that you can make something specific to what you're after, right? Okay. Specifically on this one here, we got Lennart here. This is looking good, man. This is crazy. Yeah, really nicely done. Yeah, a little bit of an older photo. We experimented with an optical snoot and shutter frames. Unfortunately, back then I only had flash available, so positioning was kind of a nightmare. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you couldn't see. Okay, let me just read all this and explain it. Luckily, the model was also my ballroom dance partner and knew how to move to millimeter accuracy. The rim light was achieved rather easily with 2 strip boxes and speed lights inside, turning them blue with the old trick of CTO on the key. Nice. White balance tungsten. Okay. So there's actually a ton going on here in Leonard's shot here, but so we've got a projection unit which is casting this triangle, right? So he's using here, experimented with an optical snoot and shutter frame, so he's made this triangle. And what he's saying is it's not LED, so it's flash. So when he's looking through the camera, he can't see where the triangle is, yeah, until the flash goes off, until he takes the image. And with a shot like this, obviously it needs to be pretty accurate. So that's what he's saying about it being difficult to manage. And then either side here, the blues are being cast from speed lights in strip boxes. I mean, I have to say, beautiful tone here, very clean. And he's saying that the color is done by manipulating the camera's white balance. So maybe he set the CTO on these to be like CTB to be like 10,000, and his camera is set to like 5,000, which is what's going to make them blue, right? Because you're kind of using that color contrast in the white balance in Kelvin. Okay, and then he's just matching the flash to be this same sort of color as the camera, and that's how he's able to make these make this blue and warm contrast here. So beautiful shot. Then I think there's actually more going on here than immediately meets the eye, and I can imagine this must have been tough to do without an ambient light. But yeah, this is really nicely done. It's very clean, very sharp gobo as well. So yeah, he done a good job of that, and you're able to kind of have some definition in the body as well, which is really good. Yeah. I bet she loved this. Yeah, it's really good. This is kind of thing as well with the height. We kind of spoke about it before with Tina's shot here about the height. So we can see we have this beautiful light here, and then because we've probably using like a strip box here on the side, we have this light coming out, but we're not getting the light up here on the top of the arm, right? So again, we just kind of need to move this light up and angle it down if need be, just to try and get just a bead of light up there. But space is not always easy. Umbrellas will help with that rather than it coming, because the strip box is coming from that centralized point, so umbrellas will mean that there's more light coming down from up high as well. But yeah, just would have been nice just to see a tiny bead of blue up there as well. Yeah, but beautiful shot though. Yeah, really well executed as well. Yeah. It also explains why PS5 won't charge the lights towards. Nice, mate. Nice. I mean, look, I am living proof that it doesn't work. But this is why I don't watch videos like that. So yeah, it was funny to taking these lights out, because I had a hire kit, so there wasn't any instructions or anything like that. So they just had the two cables. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? I certainly didn't realize that. I mean, it's a clever workaround they have, that you plug the power cable in to and then you charge the batteries like that. But yeah, I didn't realize it at the time. That is such a dumbass mistake, but it's funny. Yeah. So it says it's theoretical level, my panel could go as high as 77 watts. Was only able to drive it around 15 to 20 watts. Okay. How warm did it get, Vlad? Did it get like super warm or not? So shot here from Trinity, actually got some gel shots. Yeah, touch of smoke. So we're just talking about smoke. The 3 light setup, 2 rear gelled strobes, and the front gels are a major learning curve. Yeah, man, that's true. Yeah, it's look, I've made a career out of them, and I've certainly made a career out of trying to explain how to use gels to hundreds of other people over the years, but it's not easy. But what is great about them is that they look fun, so people try it and they're like, damn, this is harder than it looks. But it is very rewarding when you do get it to work. So the principle that you've got going here is that you're trying to use gels to kind of color the very kind of textured 3-dimensional smoke. And this is a good example of when to use this kind of 3-dimensional smoke as opposed to the mist that I was talking about earlier on, in that this 3-dimensional smoke will pick up the different colors, right? If I was just to put haze here, it would just be a mess, right? It would just be pink and blue everywhere. But because you're using this thick smoke, you're able to actually color the, you know, like the actual plumes or the clouds of smoke here, which is very cool. Yeah. So the only thing I'll kind of say here is that with this, I know I've only just worked out what this is the back of a chair, right? I just think that, yeah, this is kind of taken up a chunk of the image, which is, yeah. It's just kind of maybe just lose the chair a little bit, just because it's not immediately obvious as to what it is. So you're using flash or using LED? Because we're seeing movement in the hand here. Not to say that flash doesn't have movement, but she must have been moving that pretty quickly. I only assume you're using flash because you're talking about gels, and typically you don't need gels with LED lights, although you could get white LED lights. But yeah. But yeah, I think using smoke and gels is yeah, very cool. I mean, you can do a bunch with it. Yeah. I was kind of playing around with it. I don't know if I've got any here or not. Yeah, see, okay, there you go. So this is what, yeah, so here we can see like very kind of chunky 3-dimensional smoke, and then just kind of giving it some time to dissipate, and then you're able to get this kind of more blurred color effect. So it makes a big difference as to, you know, whether you're using smoke or haze. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Hopefully, try again with the smoke. I think there's a lot of mileage with it, especially, you know, thinking about colors. What certain colors mixed together, as in mixed together to make other colors. So you could try red and green, for example. When they mix and blend, you can get yellow. So it could be kind of cool to play with that with smoke. Yeah, might be worth experimenting with. So we've got a shot here from Tommy. It's looking cool. This is from a recent cover shoot I've done for Asmo magazine. Due to the aspect ratio, this wasn't used for the front. Yeah, both me and the chief editor agreed this was our favorite image from the session. I've tried cleaning up the foreground as much as I could. Okay, some of the background has been filled in using AI. Okay, yeah. The top right was a slight blank space prior to this. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's not like it's subtle, right? It's not dominating. That's fine. Yeah, you can use it in there. That's good. I've used some of the stuff you've taught me over the last year via the live streams. Nice. Key light removing spots and marks, etc. Nice. Yeah. Is there anything you would do differently from the composition to the edit? I'm not sure how bright the shine from the face will look. I want the focus around the eyes and then towards the warmer colors. Okay. So I think this is good. Yeah, I think, you know, the things that we've kind of spoken about in the past is going to be, you know, dominant and recessive colors being one, right? And typically red is going to be the dominant color here. And, you know, that's typically where our eyes are going to be drawn to, right? So if we're shown an image with red and this kind of greeny color in it, our eyes, you know, we're kind of hardwired to go to the red first. Now, we can kind of counteract this, and you're doing it here by luminosity or brightness, right? And what you've done here is the face here has tons of kind of detail and brightness from this green light, and it's in the middle, which helps as well. But yeah, we are definitely drawn to the face here, and this stuff back here is not distracting. We can see that is this kind of silver mylar stuff. We can see it's the same back here as it is there. It's not distracting, but it's not this black, you know, just dead space either. And I think that was the right play there. And if you had to AI in some stuff back here, I think it's fine, yeah, because it's not distracting at all. Yeah. Composition with squares is kind of cheating, right? You can't really screw up the composition of a square, really. So, you know, I think next time if you're around on the stream, you know, share some of the other shots from this shoot. I'd be interested to see how they look. But, you know, nothing is jumping out at me here as being you know, desperate for fixing. It's just like a red is very difficult to work with. We can see it clipping here, right? We can see it's absolutely clipping there, which means that we have just a large chunk of data that is probably exactly the same tone. or very, very close to. Yeah, so if we're looking up here, right, we can see that it's, move it around there, it's almost no fluctuation at all. So this is what I mean by this clipping data. And to be fair, we might only be seeing fluctuation because it's a JPEG anyway. So, but reds are very, very difficult to work with. So really, I would kind of be, if you were shooting this again, you want to be bringing down the exposure or the power of this red light. And then if you wanted it to be more red in the final image, you just kind of need to get into the habit of bringing it back in post. This is one of those occasions, deep reds, deep blues, where you kind of have to shoot for the final image in mind, not for the raw, right? And I typically shoot reds at least one stop, if not two stops darker, and then try and bring it back to avoid this camera sensor clipping the colors. But yeah, it's just something that it's difficult to kind of do it without doing it yourself and then going, oh yeah, I love the look of shooting it underexposed and then bringing it back later, as opposed to shooting it, trying to get it right in camera. Very cool shot though, yeah. What we got going on in the questions here? So Vlad says, yeah, as for LED density, most commercial panels have white CC LEDs in between the RGB ones. This is true, Vlad, yeah, but on the panels that I have, there is like big gaps between the LEDs, which is not happening with yours, of course. Yeah, so yeah, I wonder if they would get hot over extended periods. Something to think about. At 20 watts is warmish, no need for cooling. Okay. Oh, because they're so low powered, it's kind of okay. Okay, fair. Yeah. But my 3D printed enclosure is perforated as well. So that's right, I have seen that. Yeah, that's cool actually. That's a good idea. Yeah. So Jamie's been retouching some images whilst listening to the stream. This is good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So it was a shot last year. Can't remember the setup. Obviously, you shot BTS, right, Jamie? This becomes a real issue. This idea of not knowing what you've shot if you've been shooting for a long time. So I've been doing this 20 years, but I will often I got sent images last week. I got shoot tomorrow, hair shoot tomorrow, and the client sent me images going, Jake, I love this. I'd like to do this for the shoot, and I have no idea how I shot it. So I had to kind of find the shoot on like the archive of hard drives there, go into the raw files, dig out the raw files. The images she sent me was from 2017, right? And I had no idea how I shot it. So so I'm looking at the raw files because I didn't shoot any BTS, and I'm zooming in to the eyeball to look at the reflections. I mean, I worked it out in the end, but I cannot tell you guys honestly, shoot BTS of every single shoot that you do. Don't share the BTS. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm saying for your own sake, shoot BTS and shoot it on the card that you're using. Don't just take it on your phone, because you won't be able to put two and two together in 10 years time, right? When somebody asks you for that again. I can't tell you how often it's happened to me. Yeah. But I digress. This is a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. And look, I'm sure the raw Jamie had, different colors and stuff going everywhere here, and I know you've done a lot of work in the retouching to kind of clean up some of the colors and stuff on the face, because we've got, what's happening here is we have blue and orange mixing, right? And as we know from our color theory or from additive color wheels, I go into this in my new color 2.0 course, but what happens is that these two colors mix to the point they neutralize each other, and this is why we have this kind of tone here, which is not blue or orange, because they're kind of falling on top of one another here. Kind of inevitable when you're this close in, and they're on the floor, and I don't know what they're, it's very, very difficult to keep them separated. We can see how clean the orange on the hand is here, because there's no blue striking it, right? So very, very clean orange here, and then blue here, and then it's kind of mixing here. Look, I think in post you've done a good job of cleaning it up, and this is a great shot for sure. Really, really nice. You just can't help but love the specular highlights on latex and stuff with LEDs. Is this the tubes as well, Jamie? It just works so well. It looks so cool. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. I was too bloody busy. Yeah, to shoot BTS. There's no excuse, man. I'm telling you. I wish I'd done it more. I wish somebody had told me that 10 years ago. The amount of times I've been asked to do shoots, and I'm having to break it apart. It just would have saved so much time. Yeah. So we got Sterling here at the end. So Sterling says, sorry about no colored light involved with this one. Just thought it was pretty cool. Shot this last week. 3 light setup on a soccer field. Created a stadium with Gen AI. Blended the grass together essentially a foot or two behind him, and then color graded. So this is good, Sterling. Yeah, you know. So Sterling's taken this shot with the external flash off to one side. I don't know whether this was taken kind of at dusk time or at night or whatever, and then you've kind of blended it with a AI stadium in the background, and you've color graded it and brought the two images together. It works, man. Look, it works. And look, we can say what we want about Gen AI and whether we should be using it or not, but I know for a fact that guy is going to love that shot, right? And I know somebody like Sterling is professional, making money from what he does, but that's what it comes down to. Like, can I make money from this, and is that money viable versus the amount of time it took me to get the shot? And that's pretty much what it boils down to for many professional photographers, ethics aside. And it looks legit, man. I think you've done a good job with blending the two images with the color grade as well. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Can't argue with it. There's really nice light on him as well here. Yeah, and it works, right? Because you got the light here, and then Gen AI has kind of added the stadium lights here. It kind of works really well with the edge lights. It's cool, man. Yeah, I think you've done a really good job of that, and I know that he's going to love that shot for sure. Yeah. 3 600-watt Godox. Okay, so you got one on camera right there. You got one on camera left. Where's the third one? Yeah, the editing is what took some time. It does, but if you have to do the same shot again, it'll be faster though, right? So, yeah. I think locking it together with a overarching color grade is really what sells it to me. Yeah, for sure. Third one was in front. I was wondering about this fill light, but then I was looking at how dark it is here. But I was wondering if there was a kind of a light in front here. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, set low as a fill. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it works, man. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, nicely done. So was this shot at night? Are you using flash at night, or was it shot like during the day and you just overpowered it with high speed sync, or what are you doing? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, look, I don't mind a early dinner. So I'll just check we haven't got any extra ones in here. But thank you to everybody that shared an image. I mean, the caliber is very, very high. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay. Continue. I'm gonna get you a raw shot. Well, I gotta continue talking. You're gonna send me the raw. Okay. What can we talk about? Oh, I could talk about you guys checking out my workshops this week. That's what I could talk about. So before we head off, make sure you check out the online workshops on my page here. I'm still doing a bunch of these, which is good. Essentially, these are the kind of more advanced techniques, right? I share a lot of kind of entry-level techniques as my Technique Tuesdays for free and that sort of thing, but for people who want to kind of take it a little bit further, these kind of in-depth courses really kind of dig into the weeds of some of the more trickier setups, like mixing colors on skin and all that sort of stuff as well as using tools like projectors to kind of create these unique looking setups, right? So check that out. If you go on here and check these out, don't forget to just click on any of these as well, because it opens up more examples of what we do, especially including some of the workbooks and PDFs and that sort of stuff that are covered in there as well. So just be sure to take a look at that. And also mentoring as well, which includes retouching your images. So I've done a bunch of those where you guys send me your raws, and then I kind of retouch them with you live, and you keep a video of the process. And really it just kind of shows you what we can get from your raw file, right? Some people maybe taking okay images in camera, and it's like, how can we really extract the most from those images, as well as business and portfolio reviews and all that sort of thing as well. So check that out as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That's it, man. That's it. And then go to Vlad's channel and do the same. Yeah. That's it. So do what Jamie and Vlad says, for sure. Yeah, like, subscribe. Doing a good job on the streams. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think most people would have probably scooted off now as I was doing the ending. But if there's anybody left in here at the moment, I was considering doing not getting rid of these streams, but doing a kind of a paid version as well in the studio, maybe like a couple of times a month, like a paid tier. And that would be me shooting in the studio with a model and kind of talking. This is not just me forgetting that the camera's live, but actually doing like a kind of demo of different lighting setups each month and that sort of thing. So I was kind of playing around with the idea, and I kind of need to see what other people are doing, especially in terms of pricing and that sort of thing as well. But I know like Carl Taylor and Lindsay Adler and those sort of people have these kind of paid tiers. So I'd be interested to see what they're doing. If anybody else uses it or sees somebody else's that they think is pretty cool, let me know and I'll take a look. But I do think that there is mileage for that, actually being in the studio and shooting some of the more kind of creative setups and talking it through. Because I think there's tons of the finer points of a shoot gets lost in like a YouTube edit, or especially a article, right? It's like working through some of the mistakes of lighting can sometimes be just as useful, if not more useful, than me just going, put the light here and turn it to 3, right? You know, I think seeing that creative process of like, I want more light here and less light here and all those sorts of things, I think is really valuable. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see. I'll give it some thought. I would find it super difficult to juggle a good photo shoot and model gear presenting at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it's what I do with workshops anyway. I think once you get into kind of a flow with it, you can kind of talk through what you're thinking, right? Because I have a thought process for every shot, and really what I'm doing is just talking and explaining all the things that I'm doing during a workshop anyway. When I shot those videos for those long form videos for Pro EDU, like all those years ago in the US, they literally just turned on 3 cameras and just all done in one take, just because you're really just talking about what you're doing, right? So once you've done it a couple of times, lad, it's not so bad. You're just kind of talking as you're doing it. But I think it'd be good to have that kind of feedback and questions as well. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Oh, nice one, Tina. Okay. So just real quick, Sterling said he added the raw. Let's have a real quick before we sign off. Thank you, Sterling. Just have a quick refresh of that, and then I can get some dinner. Let's have a look. Oh, okay, Sterling. Okay, that's way okay. Clean your fucking lens for one. I know this is all the rage, but like that is wild. You got a lens filter on that? That's a lot of shit on your lens, man. But yeah, this is cool. Okay, so that's actually way more. This is you've almost done hardly anything to him in the foreground. That's really cool, Sterling, man. That's really cool. I mean, you pretty much nailed that in camera for sure. Yeah. Good stuff. You've seen the Batman, right? That's some Helios level shit on the lens. There is Vlad loves that. I love that. That's good, man. That's good. Like it. No worries, man. Well, thank you to everybody that shared an image. Look, you know, it would be pretty boring just to listen to me rant about the news without these images. So thank you to everybody that posted an image. It's always good stuff. Let's do this again in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks so much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And whilst I search for the window to close this down, I will say goodbye. Take it easy, guys. Catch you in the next one.